Maybe I should change your name to Bucky on the or to Beaver Nugget. What's up, Beaver Nugget? Hi, everybody. Welcome to yet another Sunday night live stream where Try is going to finally eat these Bucky's Beaver Nuggets. These nuggets.
I should have brought the other bag. I have two.
Well, I hope you like them.
Well, yeah.
I hope you like them.
What one is courtesy Jonathan Henson, and the other courtesy Scott Snyder. They. Oh yes, look! Oh my goodness, look at it, Sadie.
Yeah. She might be like, I don't know if that's like probably the best thing for her to have.
No.
What I think Scott Snyder did is he may have sent you the bag that I gave to him. not really. I think they I think he ate it. Like they probably ate it real quick.
Yes.
So yeah.
But yeah, it took so long. I think just it got lost in the mail. So.
He bought another one, but wouldn't it be really funny if it was that same bag? If it was like the bag that I bought for my Yellowstone trip, that was left over from my Yellowstone trip.
I have not looked at the ingredients on this, so I have literally no idea what it is. It looks like a cheese puff, but with like caramel on it.
Yeah, but it's heavier than it looks like it should be.
Well, but you know what's amazing about this? You know what's amazing about it? Like it's a clear bag because they have the guts to say like, look, like we filled up this bag here. Like this is a full bag. Look at this thing.
Yeah. Like, they might have like a little bit of air in there, but
amount of air in there.
Yeah, it's not like you get a bag of Doritos and half of it is empty, or like 3/4 of it is empty.
Yeah. I mean, my understanding is that normal humans don't like to hear other humans eating.
Well, it's just crunching.
It doesn't bother me one bit, but you know what? Like sometimes art is meant to challenge us and make us uncomfortable.
Yes.
So, y'all are going to just have to be a little uncomfortable for a little bit while I try these beaver nuggets. Oh man, that's a rich smell as soon as you crack that.
Yeah,
open.
Right.
It just like immediately just fills the room.
You open it and immediately you're like, "That's good." you couldn't hear that. That's good.
I could not hear that. Oh man, Sadie is freaking out here.
But I will say, like, it might not seem amazing at first, but you just keep on eating them. And you will sugar crash if you keep on eating them. You absolutely will sugar crash. I mean, it's just like caramel corn, kind of.
Nom nom. Nom nom. You like that? Yeah,
I have to.
Sandy loves to smell what I'm eating.
I wonder if it's gonna. Oh, there's a $2 from Dad1153 saying Happy Columbus Day or whatever they call it now. Is tomorrow Columbus Day? Or whatever they call it now? Indigenous People Day? Is that what it is called now?
I don't follow the random Monday holidays very closely.
I didn't realize that it is tomorrow. Usually get that off of work, I think. Not me. I have to.
Is tomorrow a holiday?
I guess it's. I think it's Indigenous People Day, formerly Columbus Day. See, like I totally forgotten. I don't think my kids are. I don't think they're off of school tomorrow because they were just on fall break, so they had like Monday and Tuesday off last week. So maybe they gave them that off instead of this because it was so close.
What I like about this?
Is there?
It's like It's like caramel covered popcorn, except nothing gets stuck in your teeth.
Yeah, they don't quite dissolve in that same way.
Which is kind of an amazing thing.
Yeah. I mean, they have a addicting factor to them. Where I mean, I wonder if they have like MSG in them, where just like you start eating them, and you can't stop, and suddenly the bag is gone, and you're like about to throw it all up on yourself. But I have to go to. I get to travel for work for tomorrow through Thursday. I'm going down to Louisiana. I've never been to Louisiana before. I don't know if I'm going to be near one. I'm definitely going to get some of those.
Wait a second. I thought you were. Weren't you in Louisiana for a trip last year?
Nope. I went to Texas last year. I went to Corpus Christi last year.
You know what I was confused with? It was when you were in the airport and saw a restaurant called Papa Deuce.
or Papa Do. Papa Do.
I know, but it looks like it would be Papa
Deuce. Yeah. Yes. Papa Do's. Papa Do's. You're gonna keep on. I can't believe you're putting them away.
No,
like I gotta.
Here's what I'll do. You know, you're not going to be playing what I believe would be a high death count game tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I will eat one every time you die.
Okay. So
my hands are not as sticky as I imagined they would be.
Yeah, and you're already like, maybe I'll just have a couple more. You're thinking about it. You're like, I could eat some more of those. I didn't know they had white cheddar beaver nuggets.
P. San Angelo says Louisiana food is amazing. Just don't ask what it is. I love Cajun food.
Mm-hmm.
Love. If you put something on the menu that says Cajun something or other, there's a very high chance of it being my favorite thing on your menu.
I see. Well, I've never been. I'm going to. It's spelled Lafayette, but it's I guess apparently Lafayette. Lafayette, and then
really,
yeah,
Lafayette.
Yeah.
Really, I never knew that.
And then Houma, 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 and then I come back on Thursday. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, should be fun
to meet Gambit.
Yes. So I thought it would be fun to play some Dawn of Sorrow, and I can just I can take it with me.
Yeah. So I take it you have the Switch version.
Yes. I'll go ahead and adjust that. But I guess let me go ahead and I had started it briefly, maybe a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Just kind of played the intro. So I wonder, it's 10 minutes in. So I could probably just resume that instead of going through the whole story and everything like that.
Oh, no, you still had to draw your name.
Yeah. Yep, you got to use the.
So how do they handle drawing stuff?
Well, the things you got to make when you seal the bosses or whatever, it's now tied to the buttons. It's just like a QTE type thing.
I noticed that the lower screen, the black doesn't look black. Is that a capture issue, or is that just how it is?
If you look at the map is fine.
Yeah, and the black on the left side of the gameplay screen there as well.
You can switch it. I don't know why you'd switch it, but I guess you've never seen this.
Yeah, I've not seen.
I changed some of the controls. I made it so that the I don't remember what it was originally, but I wanted the special menu to be on select instead of on one of the shoulder buttons. Let me just get out of here. There's different screen setups you can do. You can do this, and change the background colors. Of course, the black background is actually black on this one.
Wow.
It's kind of nice.
Well done, M2.
Yeah.
There was a notification that Zane's dad has been a member for 44 months.
Dang.
Thank you. Saying the fact that I cannot explode into 1,000 bats to escape awkward social situations is a constant source of irritation. Yeah, that, that does sound like it would be convenient.
Oh, weird. That's weird that.
Oh, what's your little cursor there?
That's the touchscreen. If you wanted to, I think that you don't have to use it though. It'll disappear.
Or just like move it into the corner.
Oh, did I just? It'll disappear, but maybe I wonder if I just did something with my buttons and just made it so that appeared.
By the way, you should probably scooch my camera over a little bit.
Oh,
it's over too far. You can see where I set the beaver nuggets.
I see. All right, hang on.
I'm kind of far off to the edge of the frame here.
All right, well, that's probably better there. Okay. I don't know if I just messed something up with the.
I see John D. Loretto is saying, Coury, try any guesses for upcoming Analog Day? Has Analog declared an Analog Day?
Well, I think that they have
announcement expected or showcasing of something.
I think a lot of people are wondering if it's actually going to add DAC support to the Pocket that they've. They're like 4 years behind on at this point, right?
That would be a little embarrassing to like hype up something and for it to be that.
Yeah.
So John D. Loretta says usually it's October 16th. They announced something on the 16th of October. Oh, is that pretty consistent? I never noticed. Well, I guess we'll have to see. There was also a $5 super chat from Enchilada. Thank you.
Thank you.
Saying, ahoy, gentlemen. Have fun with the various forms of Castlevania. Metaphor has captured me this weekend. Amazing RPG so far and recommended. Have fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Metaphor as well.
I've heard that it's very, very good.
Yeah, I don't have it yet, but I look forward to it. That's interesting. There's like some flickering stuff going on in the background. Is that like what?
It's like glowing. It's like it looks very intentional.
Right. Like I don't think it's a glitch, but like it. Like is it supposed to be like moonlight? Like
yeah, probably
glowing through. Like it looks like something that they expected to blend on the DS or something. Yeah, I'm sure it's intentional. It's just it looks a little weird in this context.
People have to be patient with me because I'm not sure exactly where I'm going since I had already started it. So we'll figure it out.
I mean, it seems likely that they might show and announce a date for the N64 core.
Yeah, I feel like they need to do what the rest of the stuff that they are supposed to do.
Yes. I don't think anyone particularly wants to hear about something new.
How do I don't know if I am supposed to. Whatever.
You probably need to get a double jump.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was one of my powers, though.
It might be, but
yeah.
I don't know if you have it yet. I mean, I might have played this twice. I don't think I played through it normally twice, but I definitely played through the the Castlevania 3 mode, where you play as Belmont, Bellonatus, and Alucard.
No, see, I can't go down here either.
Robert Mitchell says, I'm not holding my breath for DAC support. My Analogizer arrived this week. What's an Analogizer?
That's like the homebrew like adapter that does outputs like over analog.
So
it plugs into the cartridge slot.
Of what?
Of the pocket.
Oh, interesting.
It requires separate cores, though. Oh,
that's pretty interesting, though.
Yeah.
So, do you use it while docked, or do you use it like with the pocket itself as the?
You use it as with the pocket itself.
Okay. Is it capable of displaying on the screen and the analog output at the same time?
I don't know. I think so.
I would assume it would. That always trips me up. Like every time.
There's a Wolfman back, or is that the Yeti back there? You see him back there?
Oh yeah, look at him go.
I don't know where I'm supposed to go. This is so silly.
Maybe you shouldn't have.
Maybe I should have started over from scratch. The Yeti's heading home. Unless, let's see here.
Isn't the car salon has a VGA out? So then, can you output multiple types of video over the VGA? Like, can you do RGB HV, RGBS, YPBPR over that?
I don't know. I've seen pictures of it. Okay.
I mean, that would actually, like, if you could do different sync types, like that would be a great like CRT tester, like, you know.
Yeah.
What I mean? Like, you know, if you wanted to just like a great like mobile CRT tester.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it though. Yeah, that's what I'm going to try and do. Is I feel like now that I had the slow descent, I can probably make that.
Did you not have it before?
No, I did. I just didn't realize. I didn't look at it.
No, you have it.
Yeah, see, that works. And I can get a new. Let me try this.
But you know those flickering effects that are in the background there. Like, I didn't remember them being in the DS game, but in Aria of Sorrow, I often avoid. Now is that 3D stuff? Is it like 1080p or is it's game resolution or similar, close to it?
Wait, what?
Maybe it's 2x resolution. When you were outside, like the village in the background was made with polygons. Oh,
I didn't notice it.
Yeah, when you get back there, stop, because I want to look at it. Oh, Chris was asking if you watched the Netflix series.
I watched the first 2 seasons, but I have not even watched the 3rd season or the new one, like the Nocturne.
It looks like that 3D stuff is maybe like double resolution. I watched, I guess it was the first 3 seasons. I think I watched. I'm trying to remember if the story concluded. I think the story, like the Trevor Belmont story, concluded. And what
right?
I watched.
Yeah. Because Nocturne
it was
is
like 3 or 4 seasons. I forget.
It was 3. It was 3.
Okay. And yeah, I've not watched in fact, didn't like a new season of that come out recently? Because I saw something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That was Nocturne. That's the new one.
But are there 2 seasons of that?
No. They announced
it.
I
saw
second
something
one
about recently. I'm like, oh, I totally forgot about this.
Yeah.
I liked the Netflix series, but I thought one of the middle seasons was very pointless. Like, it didn't add much to the overall plot. Like, it was kind of this like side story in this other village and didn't really tie into the overarching plot. So it kind of just like really ground things to a halt in a way that I thought was it was an okay self-contained story, but it just seems superfluous.
Well, the third season was like the end of it, though, I think. Or was the end of that one?
Yes, it was kind of raunchy. It definitely, yeah. It definitely gets a little more that way than you might expect. There was a $2 super chat from Dad1153 saying, great tour video, but only 55-inch TV, 85-inch plus or bust.
I've figured out that I cannot go any bigger than 65. Like, I could put a 65 there, but anything bigger than that is going to just be too much. It would be for the distance that I'm away from it too. It would be it'd just be too big.
Yeah, I think bigger than 65 would be too much for me as well. But I have to say, as people who watched the LG C2 and C1 review will know, my intention was to stick with 55 inches. I thought that the added cost per inch didn't sound worth it, because 55 to 65 doesn't sound like that much,
Right.
It really doesn't sound like that much. And when you look at 65-inch TVs in the store, it doesn't look like anything special in terms of size. But so, I got the C2 at launch because I'm like, hey, I'll get it at launch and I can make some of my money back by making a video about it. And so I'm like, I can justify the launch price. And well, then, I start doing the review and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have issues with this TV.
Yeah.
And
Hammer.
So
Hammer's like the most anime looking guy in this, though. I feel like he
absolutely
looks significantly more anime than anybody else.
Yes. And when I was looking at the thumbnail, I was like, who the heck even is that guy? Like, I don't remember him at all. Is he on the box here? He is on the box here. And he's like doing this like action running pose.
Yeah.
And he's the shopkeeper.
Yeah.
Like like on the box, he's doing like like this action running pose. He's a shopkeeper. I can't imagine he has like an action moment.
And he's only in this one. He wasn't in the last one, I don't think.
Yeah, well, that's why I looked at him on your thumbnail. I'm like, I don't.
But maybe he is. I've not played I played Aryasaru when it came out, and that's the only time I've played it.
But anyway, as I was saying, so, it only costs like maybe like 200, like 300 max to go from 55-inch C2 to 65-inch C1. And I was like, you know what? For all my troubles, I'm gonna treat myself to the 65-inch.
Yeah.
And it was worth it. It was worth it. Like when you get it in your space, that size increase feels like so much more than you envisioned.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be very much, for sure.
Yeah. But your space is fairly tight and cozy, so a 55-inch does not feel too small in your space.
Right.
I think a 65-inch would work well, though, I think. And I would encourage you to choose 65-inch next time.
Yeah, when I upgrade, I will. I have no idea when that will be.
Well, a big theme of your video, well, not really a big theme, but something that you say is like, yeah, you're on HDMI 2.0, but everything just works so well. And I think a big theme of my video is going to be, look at all this hassle I have to go through for HDMI 2.1 to like only kind of work in my setup.
Yeah, and you might not be able to use it in like your in specific use cases.
Well, I can use it, but it's just that
you can't record it.
Well, I can record it, but it's just that the capture quality might suffer because, like, if for example, I played God of War Ragnarok, a few weeks ago, using the performance mode with the system set to 120 hertz. The game runs mostly at like 80 to 90 frames per second, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a super.
It's neat right there.
To me, the difference in increase. Oh, that mirror looks good.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks kind of neat.
The difference to me with like higher frame rate is more that just like the motion clarity looks crisper.
Mm-hmm.
The motion looks a little. It's not that it look to me. It's not that it's like it necessarily. It just doesn't necessarily look more fluid or feel more responsive to me. It's just that in motion there is less blur. So it's kind of neat.
Right.
With VRR, 80 to 90 FPS looks good most of the time. However, because I can only capture in 60, my capture card can receive that signal, but cannot record it at higher than 60 hertz. Like the frame, the motion is a little stutter. So the capture is a little bit compromised, but I can do it. So, I started playing Doom 2016, one of my pledge games. Finally gained another pledge game. And I thought that it might have like a native, I've got the Xbox version, and I thought it might have like a native version. But it doesn't seem to. A native like current gen version. So I thought like, oh, does this have 120 FPS? Because I know that Doom Eternal has like a current gen.
Yeah, I feel like it would have 120 FPS mode, but maybe it doesn't.
Well, Doom Eternal does.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it has 120 FPS mode or 60 FPS ray tracing mode. But it seems that the most that Doom 2016 has is like an Xbox One version, which looks great. It's very sharp. But yeah, it's not 120 FPS. But I was considering not being sure if it had like current gen support or not. I was considering playing at 120 FPS, even if it meant like lower resolution or something. I was like, oh, that might be neat.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. But now, if I did play at 120 FPS, as far as I know, I've not done extensive testing like that, but like as far as I know, like that should look good in capture in theory.
Yeah. Well, our AverMedias can do the 120 FPS too, I think.
Well, at 1080p.
Oh, okay.
This would let me do, 4K 120.
What's really weird though, it would be interesting to see what kind of benefit it has, because that game is so fast and it looks so fluid anyways that I can't imagine.
It would just look. It would have sharper motion clarity. That's the main. Like especially as like a console player looking at a TV, I see the benefits of higher than 60 FPS as you just get less display blur. Like I can understand like from the perspective of your face is close to a monitor, pixels move more space relative to your face.
Right.
I can understand why PC gamers are a little more hung up on higher frame rate because of that. But to me, if you're at a TV, like 60 is fluid as it needs to be from my perspective. But the motion clarity can be
throw the bones.
and the input latency can be improved, but that's not a big thing to me. To me, it's the benefit is primarily motion clarity to me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, see, now look, Henry Clark is saying New 2016 and Eternal are some of the only games I feel don't feel great at 60. They really need more. He says 60 FPS is fine virtually every other game, but those just feel broken at such a quote unquote low frame rate. See, that's incredible to me. That's incredible to me. It just moves so fast and smooth, and it feels really good. The only thing that would make it feel better is if it had a gyro support.
Oh yeah,
that would be great. Although the game, it might not be it would be a potentially iffy fit for that game due to well, it could be made to work. It could be made to work. But the game doesn't really revolve around aiming down sights.
Oh,
there
not
are
at
a few
all.
weapons
No.
that have mods that let you do that, but it's not about that at all. The machine gun has a mod that lets you aim down sights. The super shotgun has no mods, so it by default zooms in a little bit when you pull L2. But if you did gyro while aiming down sights, that would work well. But gyro works really well in the night dive games, so I think it could work. I don't
use it a ton in anything. It depends just for if it's something I need to if I can take my time to do it. It's very hard for me to use it on the fly.
Well, and you do need to tweak the settings. I spent a good bit of time before I really got going on Quake, the night dive Quake. I spent a good bit of time fine tuning what felt right for gyro for me. I want just a very small amount, just a very small amount.
Yeah.
But I love how it feels. But as far as I know, I don't think the PlayStation version supports gyro. I assume it does not. But I've got an Xbox, which has been fine. That would be the only thing that would make it feel any better, because it does feel quite good. There was $4.99 from Joshua Helmke. Thank you. Saying great room tour, Coury, and thanks for sharing your life in gaming with all of us. Any thoughts on Metaphor ReFantasio? I think it's got one of the most obnoxious names of any game ever made.
I'm curious to see what the name means in the scheme of things.
Yeah,
but I'll tell you, if I actually had it pre-ordered. I had no idea that I had it pre-ordered. Usually I don't even buy the stuff like that right away, but I must have just
well, I mean, there used to have to be worried with Atlas games, but
yeah.
Nowadays it's not really.
Well, now all their games are selling 1 million copies at launch.
Yeah, apparently it's the best launch that they've ever had or something, or a better launch than any Persona game.
When Frankenstein dies right there, it's kind of hilarious. Makes it feel kind of bad for him.
It was on his last legs.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I can't express how good it feels to just have that done, and out of my life. It's as horrible as it sounds to say it that way. It just feels very good to.
Well, I mean, you've been promising it week after week after week after week after week for so long.
Yeah.
So it's
for a year. I mean, that preview was a year before. Which is really quite silly.
Reason, I could have swore it was in December. Maybe I was confused because I think you were thinking at the time that it would be released in December.
Yes. I mean, that's probably it. But it does feel very good to just like have it done. And it seems like everybody who watched it like really like has enjoyed it so far. Hopefully it's one of those things that people will continue to come back to and watch. You.
But yeah, like I'm looking forward to playing Metaphor. I have no idea when that will be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if like Square Enix has had a worse name for a game than that. Like,
I don't know. Dio Field Chronicles is pretty bad. Or Dio is that what it's called? Dio Field Chronicles?
There's nothing wrong with that name.
I mean, it's about as obnoxious as Metaphor ReFantazio, I think. Well, I mean, it's like as in like referring to. I think it's like I don't think that ReFantazio is one word.
What's worse about Dio Field Chronicles and Valkyria Chronicles? Like Dio Field is just the name of a place. I don't like. I'm referring more to like the
various daylight.
The Cydia 012 duodecim Final Fantasy.
I mean, that's pretty bad.
Or your Kingdom Hearts 397 over 2 days or whatever the number is. That kind of stuff.
Nonsense. Just say it's nonsense.
It's nonsense. But Metaphor ReFantazio, like I hate that even more for some reason. Like I think it's the fact that the word metaphor is in the title, and like that's just like so on the nose. It's like, ooh, this game's story is a metaphor for something in real life.
We don't know that.
That's deep. I have no idea. I have no idea what that could be, but it feels very on the nose. Like,
yeah.
And what if they do more games of that style? What is the series? Is it Metaphor? Is it ReFantazio? Like, is the like if we're talking about the series in the future, is it the Metaphor series? Is it the ReFantazio series? Is it the Fantasio series? Is it the series? Like, what is it?
I don't know. I guess we're going to find out.
Chris Waters says Live Alive is pretty bad too, but no, that's a good one.
Or however you say it.
I like the ambiguity of how you say it.
I don't know. Either way, like I think that I would have been tempted to like, hey, I'm gonna just like play this if I knew that Ease 10 wasn't coming out in 2 weeks.
Sure.
Which is like that's like 100% day one start for me. And like I'm playing Silent Hill 2 right now. I'm like 4 hours in, but it's like I don't know if that's like a real true amount of time that I've spent, because I feel like a lot of times I'm just kind of wandering around trying to figure out where to go. And I don't know if that's just how Silent Hill is.
Oh, well. Oh, wait. Oh, so you started it?
Yeah, I'm like 4 hours in. I'm like most of the way through the hospital.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what I really like about it, because I really, I mean, have you played Silent Hill 1?
Yeah, but it's been a really long time.
I mean, the gameplay is very similar between the two games. I like the structure of 1 more than 2, but ultimately they're fairly similar, where like I really like how like they, the character automatically writes like notes on the map, like, nope, this room can't access it. There's a point of interest here. They circle that.
Yeah.
This road is inaccessible. Scribble that off.
Well, I like that it does that with the doors. I know that someone's asking if, like I'm playing the original Silent Hill 2 for the first time.
Yes.
Just to clarify, I think for people that don't know, I'm not playing the remake. I'm playing the original. All right, so, okay, so that just does that automatically, right there.
But yeah, I mean, I really like that aspect of it. I mean, I don't mind a bit of like figuring out where to go in a game. You know, I don't mind like poking at the edges of a world and finding my way around.
Yeah.
Which I mean that's a lot of what Doom 2016 is. I mean, I forget what your issues with Doom 2016 was like. Was that kind of it? Like trouble figuring out where to go and stuff like that.
I think that was like my main problem with it. Yeah, is that it, and also I think that it was like maybe a bit long for what it was, but I don't remember.
Oh, looks like I get a beaver nugget.
Yeah. Lucky you. But I like it so far. I'm sad that I'm going on this trip, that I won't get to get back to it until I get back. So that makes it a little sad, but it's all right.
Anyway, like I you know, like to me that's just part of Doom, you know, like it's as much about like exploration and finding your way through a maze and discovering secrets as it is about shooting, right? So I feel like they've done a really good job of carrying that spirit with 2016. Like that's a big part of it for me. And I like the aspect of Silent Hill as well. Like I like that sort of organic, unguided, you know, if you were dropped into this place in real life with a map, I mean, and you were figuring out what to do or where to go, I mean, you would be exploring the world in a very similar way. You know,
yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Organic way of exploration. And I like that a lot. Like I'm really curious to what extent the remake holds on to that or if they add more guidance, because it feels like a very, you know, kind of old way to do things these days.
YB.
Although, you know, games with relatively little hand-holding like Souls games are very, very popular now.
Yeah.
But...
touch the screen.
Oh, I see the YBA. That's cool.
Yeah. So it says touch the screen to shatter certain blocks. So I guess takes effect. Does not require equipping. Okay, so I can go like this. Oh, I see. So you can just hold down the R2 trigger and just drag over it. So you, like it just is a permanent click.
Interesting. I saw the DF review with the constant UE frame drops and reevaluate by. I mean, I'm hoping it'll work well on PS5 Pro unless the PS5 Pro features. See, that's going to be the danger of PS5 Pro, is that, you know, developers might tap into new features for the PS5 Pro and nullify any potential like frame rate boost that maybe the game needs.
I think that's like kind of the big thing, like why I find myself being increasingly more and more happy that I am not one of the kind of people, not a person that has just taken and said, I'm just going to go PC only or something like that, because it feels like every big game now like is messed up and is like bad at launch.
Well, and every Unreal Engine game is messed up on is like worse on PC than on consoles.
Yes, and that's, I mean, I just can't imagine being like, well, you know, I'm excited to play this game, but in every time you get it, it's like, it just like runs like garbage. You're gonna have to wait, or you just have to like screw around with something to make it like.
Yeah.
Well, how come I can't go? It's just a dead end, huh?
That is weird. Is that where the boss was?
Yeah. So I guess I thought I would keep on going past it, but I guess not. It just feels like that is like a never-ending thing. Like every single PC game, despite being like the more powerful platform and like looking better for people they play on it, like there's other issues that make it not worth playing at launch. Like, yeah, it's like, okay, like, sure, it looks better, but you know what? It's still, like, it has all these other problems that the other versions don't have.
Right. And, like, the fact that, like, okay, sure, like, a lot of times, you know, like, mods to fix, like, an obvious issue come out, you know, within a day of the PC version coming out, right?
Right.
And, you know, maybe the developer never makes their own fix for that. And it would be this like constant bugbear in my head if I like was playing with a mod that, you know, corrected some issue. I would just like be constantly thinking about like, what does this break that I don't know about? Like, that's why I like all of my video game tweaking to be external to the game. You know, I like to deal with scaling. It is outside the game processing. I don't want what I do to interfere with the way the game processes. I don't want control over that kind of tweaking. That annoys me. It's just not for me.
So I can't do anything like this. Okay.
You know, I find it much easier to just accept the way the game is. Like, I can critique it and be like, oh, I wish this was better.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I accept it and move on and play the dang game.
Yeah, and that's just what it comes down to, right?
And, you know, there's plenty to critique. Like, you know, I'm like, oh, I wish this was better. But I can't make it any better, so I'll just play it.
Yep.
And whereas PC, it's like, can I make this better? Maybe I can make this better. I want to try and make this better.
Yeah.
And then you try to make it better, and then you know, maybe it's not getting any better, and you can't figure out if like the problem is your configuration or your system, or if the game is buggy, and you know, but you're constantly thinking, I can do something about this. I should be able to fix this, because that's just the mindset PC puts you in, and I don't want that much power. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree. But for me, it sounds like more stuff that just keeps me from playing the darn game.
Mm-hmm.
And I can understand that people that do like it, but it does not, like, just having a game that has the potential to look better. I'd rather have a game that just, like, I know is gonna play
the way it was meant to be.
Yeah, for like when you start playing it.
Yes. I mean, there can be configuration issues on console games as well, but it feels like those are more readily fixed than configuration issues in PC games.
Yeah.
You know, things like, you know, like, oh, this is weird. This feature is enabled on PS5, but not on Xbox. And you know that, you know, Series X can do, you know, basically the same stuff that PS5 does, and vice versa. Like, most versions should have feature parity, or for all intents and purposes look the same. And so, like, it's often just a configuration issue where it's like, oh, you know, the developer literally just forgot to turn this on or something.
Yeah,
that happens, but you can't fix it, so you may as well play the game. That's what I like. I saw a bit ago, I think it was Rally Answer. He was asking if I'd started Castlevania Curse of Darkness. I started it twice many years ago.
Oh, that was another one on your list, huh?
No, it's not. It's not.
Oh.
I don't think.
Oh, I thought it was on your... Yeah, I thought it was a pledge game for some reason.
I'm pretty sure it's not.
Oh.
Let me check my back lottery. Castlevania. No, but I started it twice back in the day, and I didn't get past the second level. And something about it, I don't remember the specifics. I think I didn't like the familiar. It's a familiar system, right? Like
I don't remember. It's been a long time
for some reason. Something about it just really annoyed me, and I'm like, this is never going to get good. I can't remember exactly what my complaint was, but I'm going to give it another chance. Ooh, I see Mark E just started Limited Innocence yesterday. Well, I hope you, Mark E with a C, enjoy it. It's, it's got a lot of corridors that sure look the same. I've got a big soft spot for that game. Great music. The final area music is one of Michiru Yamane's best. Speaking of Mark with a C, problems that resonate with me, right? I can't remember where I saw this posted. Someone posted I assume a Starbucks or whatever coffee with their name on it, and the caption said, "I said Mark with a C," and it was CARK.
Wait, what?
The coffee person wrote when the person said Mark with a C, the coffee person wrote CARK on the cup.
Oh, okay.
Instead of MARC. Marky says, all my friends send me that meme. I was asked by one person one time. It was at Mod Pizza. But I said Mark, the way he asked, is that with a C or with a K? I'm like, no one has ever asked me that before, but it actually is with a C.
So you have been working on starting to work on your setup tour.
Yeah.
Like with the intention of hopefully releasing it in November.
November, yeah. That's my goal. So yeah, I've got a good chunk written, and I've also been trying to tie up a few loose ends in my setup, like gaps in functionality that I'd been lazy about fixing. Like, for example, a couple weeks ago finally got some controller charging stuff set up in my retro room up here.
Mm-hmm.
I had
okay. Guess
I've been putting on, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. It was just a matter of setting it up.
Yeah.
Because I don't use systems with wireless controllers in that room terribly often, but there's a few that I do.
Hopefully I'm doing this right.
Oh, there was a $10 super chat just now from EB Chill 2. Thank you. As always. saying, Coury, your amazing room tour video is about 6 loads of laundry log if I don't match the socks.
That's hilarious.
What settings did you use on the Retro Tink for Silent Hill 2? I started with the I actually could send you because I sent Coury my profile.
Yeah, I'm using it too.
I sent Coury the profile I used for the PS2 version capture on Tom's Digital Foundry video.
Mm-hmm.
I started with the Wobbling Pixels 4.3. What does? Maybe I can probably actually bring it up in my downloads folder. Let's see. Where would it
Whoa.
be? So I downloaded all those profiles.
Those things seem kind of creepy.
Yeah, okay, these are the Wobbling Pixels profiles. I started with, let's see. Okay, yeah. So, in the Wobbling Pixels profiles, you go to Sony PS2, then Wobbling Pixels NTSC and PAL YPBPR Sharp,
Mm-hmm.
and then the PS2 DAR display aspect ratio 4:3 Sharp. The file in that folder that has the shortest name. I started with that, and then I further I resized the image to, I think, be 10x integer scale, and then cropped the left and right to be perfect for the game. And then I turned on the reverse telecine, or however you say it.
Mm-hmm.
I turned on the inverse 2.2, which works shockingly well for the game. I kind of thought it might, because I don't really know how it...
That's the Demon Guest House. My favorite place to hang out is at the Demon Guest House. You'll be staying at the Demon Guest House this time.
But yeah. So, because I don't know exactly how the inverse telecine works, and I thought, like, just how noisy Silent Hill 2 is, I thought might screw with it. Intentionally noisy, gloriously noisy, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it works really, really well during gameplay. It essentially makes it 480p. FMVs are actually 60 frames per second, and it loses the lock on the inverse telecine, like on load screens, menu screens, and FMVs. But I was not distracted by any.
I don't even notice.
Yeah, if there's any sort of hitch when it re-engages and disengages, I don't notice. It's shockingly good.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been.
You like how the profile looks?
Yeah. I haven't tried it with anything else, so I can't even. I can't compare it to anything else. Yeah. So I created a folder on my SD card on the Tink 4K and just have it like labeled game specific, and I'll just like sort it by platform. It's not something that I go out of my way to create, especially since you have like an eye for making that kind of stuff, and that's just like, for better or worse, that's just like not something that I would like really bother with. But if you make one, I'll use it. Yeah. But I'm not going to really go too crazy out of my way to to like, you know, make my own.
Well,
And that's just, you know,
I mean, I don't want to go so deep as to like really think about like how to make
not like
some
every
of those
single
profiles
game
from scratch either. You know, like that's why I really appreciate that we've got like the Firebrand X and the wobbling pixels
exactly.
and other profiles like used as a starting point.
Wobbling beaver nuggets.
Huh?
Wobbling beaver nuggets is what Trout Butter says.
So anyway, yeah. You know, that would be challenging for me to make, you know. But I like tinkering with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like sometimes on a per game basis, especially if it's like a game I'm going to be playing for a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I feel like if it's like, oh, okay, these features would work well for this game or these cropping settings, just because I feel like it keeps me sharp, right? Like it you know, if enough time were to pass where I just like barely fiddled with the RetroTink settings, then like when I needed to do something later, I would probably like be like, oh gosh, how does this work again? You know?
Yeah.
Like messing with that stuff, like it keeps me familiar with the settings. Like for instance, when I played, I finally picked up and finished Sly Cooper 1.
Damn you, Cooper.
The other week. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be playing on the CRT, but I'm also going to be capturing it for the year-end video. I want the capture to look good. And I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, I don't like how this looks. And I started talking to some people and learned that in the deinterlacer menu on the RetroTink, there's a setting called Interpolator, and the default is linear, or at least the default with the wobbling pixels profile I was starting from.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one called Edge Adaptive. And for field rendered games, which are, you know, like Sly Cooper is, like if you're running around and like the deinterlacing looks too chunky, like certain things look almost like 240p-ish, then it's probably a field rendered game. And if you try the Edge Adaptive setting for the interpolator and the deinterlacing menu, it looks a lot better. Now, for most other games, I think the linear probably looks a little better, especially because 2D elements can have a few sort of flickering pixels on them. Not too bad, but you know, it's a little bit of a compromise. But you know, so things like you know, that didn't take me a terribly long time to get it right, and I learned something new, right? So I feel like it's valuable exercise, like especially if I'm like going to like be playing this game, and you know want to, you know, it's a good learning experience.
Yeah,
you know, for me.
And I'm happy that you know that you do that.
Here we go.
Okay. Kick a skull like a ball. That's what that power does. Ooh, look at that slug. That's like a good-looking slug. You don't see a lot of slugs like that in games that are just straight up like gross looking, like a real slug. Jeez. There's a boss through there, but I feel like there's going to be a save room if I go through here.
Shadow Mask, I just tagged you in the MLiG Discord with a Silent Hill 2 profile.
Oh, nice. We could probably start a channel with something like profiles like that.
I probably should have done it in the RetroTink channel, but oh well.
Let's...
Anyway,
Cool decision.
There's several like.
Yeah, I need to catch up on a few super chats. There was a $4.99 from Cohibadad.
Oh,
Thank you. Saying whatever happened with Coury's PS2 audio troubles from a few weeks ago.
I mean, it just started working.
Was it audio that was? Oh,
yeah.
right.
When I was
Right.
trying out Sky Gunner, it started working. I tried a different like my pre-release unit, and it was fine on there. So then when I went back to my release unit, it was fine on there then too. I have no idea what caused it. I don't know if it had something to do with the device that I had my GBA consolizer going through that like finesses the signal so that it works with everything, which isn't really necessary if it's going into the tank anyways. Like it just will kind of work anyways. Oh, I don't know if that's... Oh.
I mean, I definitely need that device in my setup. I mean, it's never given me any problems. And I only have like 5 devices hooked up to it anyway, so...
Yeah, I don't know if it just like why that happened, but it's okay now, and I don't know how to trigger it because like
it won't happen again.
Yeah, unless it happens again. And I mean, I didn't really even need the that device. It's like an audio inserter, right? Because we were originally, I thought I'd use it to insert the GBA consolizer audio into it, like the analog audio into it, because like the DVI Plus mode struggles sometimes with audio, like on a lot of TVs.
But you ended up not using it to insert the analog audio because it just fixes the HDMI audio.
Right. Exactly.
Which is exactly why I bought it, and it also fixes issues I have with PS1 digital audio, just with capture. It's only a capture issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I need it in my setup because most of the capture I'm doing downstairs, at least, is bypassing the RetroTink, and because the RetroTink is on my TV, and I'm doing like direct capture, like including with like GBA consolizer or PS1 digital, and I'll have audio issues in that capture if I don't use that device.
But I just haven't had any situations where I've needed to use it, like, so I just haven't. Whoa! Look at the size of that guy.
Oh, it's sizable.
Ooh! Oh, a big one.
There was also a notification that Shadow Mask has been a member for 36 months in a row, saying, "Please join us for libations at the Vampire Wet Bar." I'm going to need to speak to the management of the Vampire Guest House. A very poor experience, or excuse me, the Demon Guest House. I had a poor experience because there were demons there. There was also a 5 Canadian update from Buddy Scotch.
Oh,
with yet another PVM hunting update.
Man.
I showed my brother, who works in old buildings a lot, images of PVMs, and he goes, "Oh, I've seen those in dumpsters before."
Yeah, that's
well, tell him next time he sees one in a dumpster, get it out.
Yeah, well, I'm sure
it could just be like a black and white security
Yeah, but you never know.
But you never know. You never know.
I got a lot of there's been a lot of comments on the video saying like, "Oh, your electricity bill must be real high."
Yeah.
I guess like I can kind of like address that a little bit. Sorry to like change the subject, I guess. Sorry about that, Buddy Scotch. I mean,
relevant to PVM.
Yeah. Because like there's just so much stuff. So my electricity bill is like not that bad because like almost everything here is electric. And a couple of years ago, I got solar, and with the solar, like what we generate, since everything is electric, and Kentucky has you get credited one to one by the energy company. So like everything you contribute gets credited back like equal amount. So because of that, my electricity bill is like right around like maybe like around $25 a month.
Wow.
So it ain't bad actually.
I mean,
if I didn't have all this stuff and just had that, like I would be probably be making money, but as it is.
Yeah. But I mean, video game consoles, like by definition, like are relatively low power devices.
Right.
Like, you have to meet a low enough power budget in a game console, or else it's going to run too hot to be in the form factor of a console.
Yeah.
Or, especially in the case of Nintendo, they use, more mature, older components.
Yeah.
Are also lower power, I mean, it's not like the game consoles are on all the time.
Right. And, Michael, Boss McLovin84 is saying, like, what's the cost to go solar, though? And that's absolutely true. I mean, that is, over the course of 25 years.
But still, I don't really know that much about, like, how much energy the solar panels on your house can really generate. So the fact that you only pay $25 a month, like,
but we're also paying, like the loan for the solar panels.
Oh, that's part of the $25?
No, but I mean that's just like what we're playing, or what we're paying. Yeah. But I mean, like I don't think of that as like the part of the electricity bill. But I guess technically it is. But in that case, then it's probably what it would be. Without.
No, I don't know. Like. I actually don't know, like, okay, your NES power supply is, sitting on the power, on the surge protector. Is it pulling any power to speak of? Like, how much power is it pulling when the system's not on? I'm not smart enough to really know how that works. But like, certainly, like modern consoles aren't drawing anything,
right? But like modern ones like are kind of high. Like Henry Clark's saying PS5 and Xbox Series X pull just over 200, and so I don't use the low power modes on those. Like I never like very very rarely do I ever use like the sleep modes.
Yeah, same, because they boot so fast anyway.
Yeah,
it like barely matters. I actually get kind of annoyed when I accidentally like put like a like every once in a while, like if I have a reason to, I will put my PS5 into sleep mode. Like I just don't want to quit the game.
Right.
Very rarely, but every once in a while I will. But on Xbox, like I get actively annoyed if I accidentally. Like what's it? Is it called like suspend mode or it's called something else?
It's
I don't know.
Right. I mean, it's like a weird
jump between games and it like remembers like the state of the previous game.
Yes.
And like I actively get annoyed when I accidentally have done that, because then I'm just like, oh gosh, I don't know if I trust it. I don't know if I trust it, and then I feel like I have to quit the game and reboot it.
I wish I could click on his face. Whoops.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, you know, it's not like we're riding a bunch of stuff with motors.
Right.
It's not like, you know, I'm sure the things that consume the most power in my house are very similar to the things that consume a lot of power in everyone else's house. You know, air conditioning, washing machine, refrigerator, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Either way, like, I mean, like, so the solar offsets it a lot, but also, like, we're paying for the solar.
But also, you had to pay for it.
Yeah. See, but we're in a situation where, like, the only thing in my house that uses gas is the like the heat pump. If like the backup heat pump.
Man, I'm so glad I don't have gas. Like it would freak me out way too much. Like it just the idea of gas in the house. Like I mean I know like, you know, incidents are pretty rare, but like just I feel I cannot be trusted with it. I would do something stupid.
I used that bomb on him, and I guess he just copies my abilities, and it's very easy to avoid the bomb if you're not like a programmed.
This guy just he looks so out of place in this game. He looks like the guy who actually did it in a Phoenix Wright case.
Dingus Alert with $1.99 saying FYI is Lafayette. I thought it was not Lafayette.
Were you lied to?
I don't know. I feel like I was told it was like it's pronounced like Lafayette. But, I mean, I don't know. Well, I guess I'll find out tomorrow.
There were two additional things I need to read.
Okay.
Before Dingus Alerts there was Scott Snyder, who's been a member 50 months in a row. 50. The big 5-0. Saying, got my 2-chip SNES back from Voltar with his edge enhancer installed. It looks amazing. I enjoyed Coury's video so much, I've watched it multiple times. Wow, so you got back already. That's awesome. I mean, I did see that he announced that installations were available. It took him a little longer to get to that point than expected. That's awesome, though. I mean, that's a fast turnaround, because I feel like I just saw the other day him say that they were available. So excellent. Glad that turned out well for you.
Okay, so what was the bill?
And then there was also a $5 super chat from Justin Sisson. Thank you. Saying, you guys convinced me to look for standing desk options. And what do you know? There's a Flex-A-Spot sale going on right now. Might have just saved my life.
What? Will you read that one again? I missed it.
Justin Sisson said, you guys convinced me to look for standing desk options. And what do you know? There's a Flex-A-Spot sale going on right now. Might have just saved my life.
Might have. I
mean, you never know.
Yeah.
I mean, the point at which you die very well could become different. From, you know, it could. I actually have. I mean, you'll see how I do it in the video, but like my downstairs computer is actually configured as a bit of an unconventional standing desk scenario.
I should have like saved. Now this guy's gonna kill me.
Ooh, but I can get another beaver nugget if you do.
I don't know what he gave me though.
I mean, I can't believe you like have back-to-back boss fights here.
Yeah, I'm very surprised.
I mean, it often is my impulse to. Well, his bat attack looks easy to dodge. You have any potions or anything?
I've used them. Oh, I got him.
Oof.
L. Oh, what? No. But what is L? I use the L button.
Is it the L trigger?
I don't know.
Did it get screwed up because you remapped? Oh, I see someone's playing Minecraft.
Yeah. I don't know why he's playing Minecraft at 9:30 on a school night.
Mmm. Oh, these are good.
Okay, L is back by the dash. Okay.
That's tasty, Sandy. That's tasty. You want to know what I got yesterday? It's right next to me. What I got yesterday when I went to the grid.
Sure.
They got rid of this for a long time, but they finally brought it because they used to do buy two get one on all games. And then sometime in the past year or so, they brought back buy two, get one on games under $20. All games under $20. So I was surprised how cheap this was. And I think it was a good deal because I looked up the price on price charting and it was a lot lower. I got Double Dragon for the Master System complete.
Oh, nice.
It was like $13.
Oh.
It's like pretty mint too.
That version, I really like it. And I surprisingly don't have it. I got it for free when, like, back in the day though. Like you could mail in UPC code or something like that.
Yeah, it was like $13. I got the Xbox version of The Lord of the Rings: The Third Age. Which I've never you know what that is though, right?
Well, sorta. Isn't it like a sequel to the is it a sequel or prequel?
I don't know where it takes place, but it's like a Final Fantasy X style RPG.
Oh.
I mean, at the time it was, it got really good reviews. It was free.
It was free?
Well, buy two get one.
Oh yeah.
The way that the guy scanned it in was interesting. I mean, it makes sense in a way, but it's not like I expected. If I got 6 games, the 2 cheapest would be the free ones. But the way he scanned it in, it was like the 2 most expensive, and then the 3rd most expensive was free. And then the 4th and 5th most expensive, and then the 6th most expensive was free. So it was actually even a better deal than I expected.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's usually the opposite.
Well,
right? Because usually, like, the cheapest one is the free one.
The cheapest was free, but like it was like it's hard to explain because it was like because the Lord of the Rings: The Third Age was marked $10.
Okay.
And like Double Dragon was 13. And the most expensive one I got was Sly Cooper Thieves in Time for PS3. It was like $17.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like 17, 13, and then 10. So this was free.
Okay.
And then the other games I got were like, I think like 8, like 10, 8, and 5. So like, I forgot this existed. I wouldn't have grabbed it if it wasn't for buy two get one, but I got Little Big Planet karting.
Okay, well, I mean, that's kind of an interesting one because, like,
Yeah,
it's the same thing with like Mod Nation Racers. You know, it's just
right.
like it's
And
not.
I always think of that one. So it always seems weird that Little Big Planet karting exists when Mod Nation Racers exists.
Right.
Like you would think they would have just done one or the other.
Yeah. Well, I think that's.
I saw that. I'm like, why not? It was marked like $8. I also got Smuggler's Run 1 and 2 for PS2.
Oh.
Smuggler's Run 1 was 5 and this 2 was
It's too bad they didn't have Breeding Stud.
Nah, too bad. But no, like you would have expected that. I think
L. I'm hitting L. L.
like Little Big Planet karting was like $8. You would have expected that would have been one of the free ones. But no, one of the $10 ones was free. It was a little weird.
I don't understand. Like, why is it? I mean, this is.
Did you remap?
But it should. If it doesn't carry that over, if you remap, that's.
It shouldn't. You would think it wouldn't. Nick Thompson says L click stick. Surely not.
I mean, hitting L, like, there's. I feel like it's silly to make it so that because L is the pause menu normally.
But are you sure you start with L? Is L the one you start with? Maybe it's not the one you start with.
Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Oh, I gotta look at the. I guess I gotta look at the order of which it shows the stuff when you go into that room.
Also, when I was there, I don't know. This might have been a waste of money, but I saw it and I'm like, it's really neat that they have this.
Okay, yeah. So that's wrong. So you gotta go. We'll see. So I think that I can.
Okay, yeah. Upper right. Oh, Samson says you can also practice the seal on the pause menu if you need to.
Oh.
Anyway, I just thought it was neat that they had this, and I couldn't resist. They had an Extron DVS 204 digital video scale.
What is it? What does it do specifically?
Well, unfortunately, it would have been actually really useful if the SDI input were like there's just a plug over the SDI port. So obviously, whoever bought this didn't, I guess got a cheaper non-SDI option. But it's got composite, S-video, RGB, component, VGA, and can output RGBS, RGBHV, YPBPR, VGA. And it can take a bunch of inputs and it can output them a bunch of different ways. I turned it on and it can output everything from like 480p to 480p and VGA up to 720p and 1080i.
R-Y-A-L.
Could be useful.
Okay. There we go.
Could be useful.
Ooh, I got a double jump.
Oh.
Finally.
Oh, you got double jump and slow fall now.
Yes. The buttons are not wrong. It was me.
You were wrong about where to stop.
Yeah. I didn't realize that was the case. I didn't realize that's how it works. I thought everything started from the upper left. Well, that's cool. That sounds like a good time. They're able to, you know, go to the grid.
Yeah. I mean, I just kind of went on a whim.
Why can't I get up that?
Always fun to find a few cheap things there. Wait, did you die? You died on that guy twice. I think I only partook of one beaver knight.
Yes, I died on him twice.
I think I got another beaver knight.
Okay. You show extraordinary restraint because I would be in a coma at this point from those. Like I would have sugar crashed and I'd be like sick to my stomach.
I'm gonna take two.
All right. Ooh, we got the Quetzalcoatl. Is that how you pronounce that? Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl, is that? I don't know. Quetzalcoatl.
Those are good. Other caramel, The Last of Us. Are there other types?
Apparently, there's a white cheddar cheese one, which I mean, it sounds amazing.
I mean, but that's. I mean,
don't give that a hard time. That sounds great. I would absolutely eat that.
What? I wasn't giving it a hard time. I was just saying like that just sounds like a cheese puff you could buy anywhere.
I mean those are caramel corn you could probably buy anywhere, really. But it's like they probably put their own spin on it.
Well, but what I mean, I like this better than caramel corn because it doesn't get anything stuck in your teeth. But my mom buys all the time at Trader Joe's like white cheese puffs.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're really good. But like, so I guess that's my point. Like, it's hard to imagine that Buc-ee's is much different. I bet there's less air in the bag of Buc-ee's though.
Probably.
But Buc-ee's.
And I agree
in terms of the stuff to air ratio in their bag.
And I'm saying, like, I'm a big fan, or we're a big fan of Trader Joe's in this house.
Mm-hmm. I mean, have you ever had their white cheese puffs?
No,
they're good. They're good.
They're kind of like pirate booty a little bit.
Pirate booty.
Yeah, I mean, there's like pirate booty, like.
What's pirate booty?
I mean, they're just like corn puffs. And there's like white cheddar cheese flavored pirate booty. I don't know about, but
the whatever they are, they're pretty good.
Yeah. Pirate booty. I mean, we like the pirate booty. See, Mr. Duddleson doesn't know about pirate booty. Someone's got to send some pirate booty to his P.O. box. You can literally get pirate booty at any
grocery store.
Yeah.
Is it just in like the chips and crackers aisle?
Yes.
I'll have to keep an eye out for it. I know about Ratchet and Clank and how they had a quest for booty once.
Yeah.
Where of that booty?
Who can I? No, I can't do anything with that either. Are you caught up on the On the super chat, just want to make sure. I'm pretty sure that you are.
No, there was a $5 super chat from Adam Jenkins.
Oh,
gaming dad in parentheses, gaming dad Adam. Saying been binging your playlist as of late and wanted to drop in and say hi. Sunday streams still going strong. Heck yeah, they are. Heck yeah, they are.
I mean, like, I don't think that they're not as high, like, heavily attended as they used to be, because I think we stopped advertising them on Twitter, and I think that
we've got 454 right now.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
No, I think that's great. I think that's great. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't use Twitter like at all anymore. Unless I like post something like like I put the tour video on there. Like I will share content or whatever.
I don't think posting outside of YouTube has a major impact on attendance.
I mean, I think that for people that may not have visited in a while, that might be a reminder.
Sure, but I don't think it's a major impact. Like, I think it would only be like a big impact if, like, John Lennon is here or something. You know?
Yeah. Ooh, he does like a dragon punch. And he shoots a fireball straight forward.
Oh, yeah, look at that dragon punch. That's a weird looking monster. Like that, it doesn't look like a Castlevania monster. I don't remember that enemy at all. It's been a long time.
Does the scaling on the stat text like bother you? Or do you feel like it's like not that bad? Like I wonder if it's actually like bad in the game too.
It's hard to tell on the stream. I hate to admit this. I've literally never done this in all my years of buying, limited physical releases. I know you've done it once or twice, but I ordered both the PS5 and Switch version of this.
Yeah, I did it too because I was unsure.
I was like, I want the Switch version to be equivalent to the PS5 version, but I feel like there's a good chance PS5 version could be better.
Yeah, but this has like a touch screen. Like you can, when you play on the Switch itself, you can actually use the touch screen, which I think is kind of neat.
But also, like, it's much more convenient to pre-scale the Switch, and I bet Haunted Castle probably. I'm just guessing.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't get like excited about Haunted Castle because it's kind of. I don't think that it can be fixed when you see kind of like how it's set up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I don't get the impression that it can be fixed because it's kind of.
It's pretty shimmery.
Well, it's just like kind of chunky and weird, the way that it looks.
But I understand it's very, very good.
Yeah, it's funny because the original is notorious for being, pretty tough, and revisited is much easier.
Yeah, Drum was actually at the end of a stream a few weeks ago. Delving into the original version. And apparently there's so many different versions of the game. And like the mechanics are kind of weird because like you only have like a certain number of continues, I believe, in any version of the game. But you have this option where you can just like, you can either continue when you die, use your credit that way, or you can just like pump up your health bar to where you just have like one long continue.
Oh,
then that's it.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, he was pretty into it. Like he was getting kind of into it. He actually beat the first level and got pretty close, I think, to the end of the second level. He was doing pretty good, but it definitely looks like a struggle. You have to get in the right mindset. There was a $5 super chat from Matthew. Thank you. Saying, anyone remember Shu and Chan comic and EGM? Shu comes back from an adventure and gets some double jump. This brave fencer personally enjoys original sun chips. Sun chips are pretty good. I agree, they are good.
Yeah.
I usually go for like the cheddar sun chips or something like that. Speaking of EGM, I got my my random Video Game History Foundation.
Yeah. So did I. We both got
a really good one. It was like the N64 reveal issue. And I went through that section of the magazine, and what was really fun was like it had a whole bunch of photos from Ed Simrad's trip to Japan, like throughout the article, and it was just it was interesting seeing like a much younger version of him, from when we interviewed him, right?
Yeah,
like like. I'd never really seen I don't know if I had seen a picture of him like from the time when he was at EGM. Yeah.
Wow.
So like my only impression of him was like, when we met him, and he's like in his 70s, right?
Yes.
So it was interesting.
I'm like terrified of losing this.
Yeah, that was like a perfect one for me to get. I really enjoyed looking back at that article there. And I'm gonna go get it.
Okay, I thought I was gonna die there. I want to keep all the stuff that I got.
Here we go. Here it is. It's got the Mario art on the cover. Now, what's interesting is they call it Ultra 64 on the cover, and they call it Ultra 64 throughout the article, I believe, if I recall correctly. But the artwork on here says Nintendo 64. Yeah, they call it Ultra 64 in the article. I'm not sure when that name change officially happened. Oh, and this is interesting. They did a interview with Howard Lincoln.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
EGM.
I might have that one, I think, but I'm not sure.
EGM said. Before that, though, also, like I said, they have Nintendo 64 on the console here, but in the article, they've got a picture of the system, and it's got the Nintendo Ultra 64 logo, just like the ones that the badges that Andy 64 gave us, and I put that on my N64 digital. Very cool. Anyway, EGM asked Howard Lincoln, still on track with a $250 launch price. And Lincoln said, the hardware is going to be under $250 in the US. I don't know whether we will pack in software or not. There are no plans to launch at a $199 price. We will not sell the hardware at less than cost. And I don't know if they sold it less than cost, but it did launch at $199. I mean, he says there's no plans to launch at $199. Well, they launched at $199.99. So it's interesting. This is so fascinating because, you would never have this kind of conversation today. All of your PR announcements are
you would never
so buttoned up, and you don't say anything until your entire corporation is all aligned with your messaging and stuff. And here's EGM just asking him what you gonna charge? He's like,
so the 64 was $200 when it launched.
Huh?
I don't remember what the price was when it launched, but
it was $199.99.
Huh.
It's is my box over here?
It has this price.
Right here.
It has a sticker on it, huh?
Yes, my box from KB Toys has a sticker. It's $199.99. So, but it's just funny. It's like, I don't know if we're gonna pack in software or not. Just spitballing here. They don't know. It's so funny. Like even back then, like Nintendo was considered secretive, and like now you look at it and like, neither Nintendo or Sony. Maybe Microsoft. You might get some of this kind of not a lot, but some of this kind of just like speculating, like just this kind of open musings,
right?
But like Nintendo or Sony, you wouldn't get anything like this today.
Because it feels like half of them they probably don't even know until they decide to they don't know until they say it,
right?
But I guess he didn't know either. Like
he didn't know either, but like it's funny because you like your entire corporation will be instructed like, we are not talking about this until we announce it.
Yeah.
Like no one is going to even speculate. They're going to give you nothing just other than no comment, right?
Yeah. Well, how cool is it though that it launched at that price? I mean, it
is, but he said they wouldn't.
Yeah.
And this is January 96.
So he says that we wouldn't launch it below cost, but I wonder if
I kind of think they did.
I wonder if they were feeling the heat yet.
I think they sold it at a loss. I'm not positive on that, but I kind of think they did.
Do you think that they hadn't hit a point where they were kind of feeling a little bit of the heat or pressure?
Feeling nervous because
like the PS1 was just like doing so good.
PS1 was starting to do well. Well, one of the questions was, who do you consider to be your competitor? And Howard Lincoln says, one of the things we're not going to do is trash our competitors. Do we have more concern over one than another? No, not really. You tend to see in this business that competitors go up and down. It has more to do with the quality of games than anything else. And you know what they did though? Only like a year and a half after this interview, they released that Star Fox 64 VHS tape where they have like the Sony
they're really trashing the competition.
Yeah,
like just like going out of their way to be.
You can't play this. Can you play this on Sega Saturn? Can you play this on that system? No, only in Nintendo 64.
Was Howard Lincoln still there at that point, though? I wonder.
I'm not sure when he left. But that's so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so interesting. And then, so this is also fun. Let's see, where is it? Okay, so they've got pictures of like photographs of the system at the show, and they've got some pictures like kind of from the side and behind. You can see behind in the clear case. And it looks like the final unit.
So look, I can
it's got
rewind.
a power. It's got, everyone here knows what an N64 power supply looks like, where, you
can have another beaver now because I died, by the way.
Oh, you
Yes.
I hope CGQ Chris isn't watching to see me eat a beaver nugget and then touch an old magazine. They're actually not nearly as sticky as I thought they were. Which just encourages you to want to eat them more and more.
Yes.
So anyway, the N64 power brick, you attach it into the system. So this is funny. In the article, they say, In addition, while appearing ready for production, upon closer inspection, we discovered that there was a suspiciously bumped out added section of plastic of a different color that contained the power supply. Nah, that couldn't be the result of the overheating rumor of the past. That aside, the systems were quite real. Well, so they see how the power brick fits in, and they're assuming this is like just some sort of hacky, like pre-release.
Yeah.
Thing. But no, that's just how it is.
And I mean, like the Saturn wasn't like kind of like hacky, like close to release. Like they kind of made some last minute changes to the hardware.
Externally, though, like
no, not externally. No.
Yeah, I mean they're just looking at the power brick and being like, that doesn't look right. Now I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how closely the power brick color matches the plastic of the N64. It's a clearly different tone in this picture, but they're like, that big chunked out section in the back looks wrong.
Does the power brick match the plastic?
I can't remember off the top of my head. It's so crazy though. Like, again, this magazine came out in January 96. I don't know exactly when this show was. Must have been November or December, I guess. Probably November. But then, Mario 64 comes out in Japan like what? June, I think? I think N64 launched in Japan in June. And man, the screenshots of the game look so different from the final game. Like almost every texture in this preview here, almost every texture is not how it is in the final game. The penguin model looks a lot different.
The icy Penguigo.
So different from the final game. Less than a year before release. They've got a Kirby Ball 64 in here. Just a tech demo that never released. Probably was the start of Air Ride, I would guess.
Yeah.
They've got Pilot Wing 64. Which at a glance doesn't look too far off from the final game. Some things are a little different.
Is that close to a save spot too?
Oh, and then we've got GoldenEye here. Is this like still when it was a rail shooter? I'm not sure when.
Oh, it was at one point a rail shooter?
At one point it was a rail shooter. I'm not sure if that was prior to N64. Like, Rare got the license before the N64. And I can't remember if that was like, if it was developed that way for Super Nintendo or N64. There's like this. Oh, those are boxes. I thought that was some sort of weird HUD. I mean, it looks not too far off from the final game, because it's showing clips from the archives here that look fairly similar.
Is the idea that this group of people are supposed to be just like idiots? Is that like the whole thing? That they're just like
maybe
not very good?
Foreign User says, did Kirby even have a good game on N64? The last great Kirby game was Superstar, in my opinion. Have you tried any of the newer Kirby games? Because like we are in the Kirby Golden Age. Because Superstar, the gameplay of Superstar was ignored for so long. And then starting with Kirby's Return to Dreamland, they brought that style of gameplay back. So Kirby's Return to Dreamland, you can get Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe on the Switch. Amazing game. Kirby Triple Deluxe on 3DS plays the same way. Kirby Planet Robobot on 3DS might be the best Kirby game. Yes. And the first 3D Kirby game, Forgotten Land, is incredible as well. Kirby is like the most like consistently, well, I shouldn't say consistently great series currently, because Star Allies was not particularly good. It's okay, but the 30 frames per second hurts it a lot.
Yeah, I feel like Star Allies was. I remember almost nothing about it except for like the last map that you can fly around on.
Zane's dad, Kirby Triple Deluxe, is also on 3DS. Oh, you mean 3D, like 3D gameplay? There was, I mean, if you're saying technically the first 3D Kirby game was Air Ride, but it's not a platformer. And then there's also 3D gameplay in Kirby, what the heck is that 3DS game called? Battle Royale, right? Yeah, Kirby Battle Royale. It's like kind of like a prototype for a 3D platformer, but it's just like a multiplayer mess around game. It's not really a platformer, but it's like a prototype for it. Ever gonna release a Kirby history video? I'd love to do something like that. Like just some massive Kirby video.
Come on. You
I mean, John Lindemann and I have talked about teaming up on something like that before. Maybe. But anyway, like Forgotten Kirby and the Forgotten Land is like the first real like 3D Kirby platform. But anyway, but yeah, to foreign user or anyone else, if you haven't played a Kirby game in a long time, I would say the best place to start would be just play Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe on the Switch. That's a enhanced port of Kirby's Return to Dreamland on the Wii. That's probably the best place to start if you have a Switch. It's excellent. It's starting with that game, like pretty much everything Kirby that released from Return to Dreamland onward, with the exception of Star Allies and maybe Rainbow Curse. Rainbow Curse isn't not a favorite of mine. It wasn't a favorite of Coury's either. It's okay. Like all of the platformers, aside from Star Allies, are amazing. From like 2010 onwards.
Got confused.
Or was it 2011? I forget. Either way, amazing. But yeah, they've also got really primitive looking Star Fox 64 in here. Really primitive looking. Ooh. Changed a lot by release. And of course, Legend of Zelda 64 that is nothing like the released game. They got Blast Dozer, which is, Blast Core.
Yeah.
Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, which looks pretty close to the released game. Wave Race 64 looks awful in here. It looks like, if this is what it like, when did the Japanese version release? I gotta look this up. Okay, the Japanese game came out in September. It came out like right around when the N64 launched here. So the Japanese version came out September 27, 96. Again, this magazine is January. If they were showing this in this state in, like, I guess November, maybe, probably, whenever this show was, they were releasing this in, I mean, they built the entirety of Wave Race 64 in like 10 months, or probably 8 to 10 months, based on these screenshots. these screenshots have. I don't even know what I'm looking at. They look terrible. And it looks nothing like the finished game. Like, there's just like it looks like there's like underwater.
What are they even doing over there?
I don't know. Like they're they're like they're like in a there's like it looks like a couple of underwater tunnels. And I mean, unfortunately, yeah, I can't really show you. Like, I don't know if you can like look up just on Google like early Wave Race 64 screenshots. And then they've got like 2 shots of jet skis that don't have any people on them. Like, they're just like self-contained autonomous racing units, I guess. And there's like no visible like wave action or anything. It's absolutely crazy to me how bad it looks, considering like the release game is like one of the all-time greats and is like an engineering marvel. Like I cannot believe what this game looked like less than a year before it came out. You would not look at these screenshots and say, "Oh yeah, that looks like Wave Race 64 early in development."
Well, how cool though is that they were even able to show that? Like, companies would not even dare to do something like that now.
Am I told I'm missing a beaver nugget? I'm
seeing
some calls.
Probably multiple at this point.
Okay, I'll eat 2 beaver nuggets. They are good. Sandy stopped coming over here when I opened it. She was like, "I'm not getting that now." They also got Body Harvest in here. It always fascinates me because I do remember that from back in the day. I don't know if this was a magazine I happened to see back in the day, but I do remember looking at a magazine. It was probably a Nintendo Power. They had Body Harvest, and that game took a while to come out. It always struck me as interesting that it was like one of the things that was shown pre-release. Also, it says Body Harvest, asterisk, tentative name. Actually, every game here, including Mario 64, says asterisk, tentative name.
Until they realize, like, oh, I guess that's the best we're going to be able to come up with.
There's something called Buggy Boogie. I don't know if that ended up being released as anything. Does anyone know if Buggy Boogie ended up being released as some game on N64? There's something called Creator. It says it's like a T-Rex, and like you can like move the camera around and stuff. It looks like it might have been a template for like one of the Mario artist things, maybe. No, I don't think it's. No, it doesn't have anything to do with Beetle Adventure Racing. It looks like a car combat game, like an arena combat. It does not look like a Volkswagen Beetle or anything like that.
Did they call it Beetle Adventure Racing though?
No, it's called Buggy Boogie.
Okay, so they probably changed like a lot of the game once they realized.
Well,
we can get the Beetle license.
I don't know what this is.
It's not Beetle Adventure Racing. It just.
I don't think it's something that ever released.
I see. Take it. There's another boss that I gotta fight, but I'm going to go back and save.
But anyway, I love this description of Creator. It says Creator utilizes the Ultra 64's rotation and zoom capabilities.
What's the difference between zoom and scaling at that point? Like,
yeah, but like rotation and zoom capabilities is like it's a fully polygonal environment. Like,
it does not sound.
I wouldn't call that like a special hardware feature. like I would on Super Nintendo.
Oh yeah,
Rotation
and especially
zoom,
since like other consoles were already doing something.
right? It's not like a special hardware feature when your entire game is already rendered in polygons.
Yeah.
No, there's no publisher listed for any of these games. I mean, not all of them are Nintendo. Although I think Body Harvest actually was originally going to be a Nintendo published game, if I recall correctly. There's a whole page on Super Mario Kart R. You remember when that was called Mario Kart R? And,
There's Mario Kart stuff. So yours is number 78. So the one that I got was 91. So they're actually pretty close. Or not, I mean, like a year apart.
Like a year, like 13 months apart.
Yeah, a year and change, I guess.
Did they show Kamek in any of these screenshots? Doesn't look like it. I remember seeing Kamek in Mario Kart 64 screenshots, and man, they replaced him with Donkey Kong, and I've never fully forgiven them for that. At least Kamek is in the Mario Kart 8 DLC, though. That makes up for it somewhat.
So Genya Arikado, that's Alucard, right?
Yes. Adicado.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Adicado.
Mm-hmm.
That's his name. I was always really curious. I mean, it must be a Japanese thing, like the how they they were originally going to call it like Super Mario Kart R,
Mm-hmm.
and Sonic R came out, right? Like, and I'm sure in Japan that sounds like super cool.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's the racing game. We're going to call it R. But I always thought that was it was really weird that they brought it that way to America, because I feel like most parents are going to look at that R and think their mind is going to go to R-rated movie, right?
Yes. I guess maybe.
I've always wondered why they did that. Obviously they didn't call it Mario Kart R in the end, but the fact that they were even considering it, I remember back in the day, ugh. My parents are definitely going to raise an eyebrow when I say I want this game. I'm going to have to explain, no, video games have their own rating system, and it's not an R-rated video game.
Actually, I would never even consider that. I never even considered that it'd be it means it's R-rated.
Well, I wouldn't consider that, but I always, back in the day, I was like, what is a parent going to think of that? I remember my dad definitely kind of raised his eyebrows when I told him I wanted to go buy Blast Corps. Because I didn't know you're supposed to say Blast Core.
Yeah.
And then when I told him how it was spelled, he's like, oh, you say that core.
Yeah.
I remember he was like, oh, you're kind of getting interested in some games
Another day in the core.
Be interested in. Well, I mean, Blast Corps, that sounds like a Doom clone or something, right?
Yeah. It's like when you're talking about the core, you gotta be chewing on a cigar.
Blast Corps.
Ain't nothing like being in the core. I wish I could remember what Apone in Alien says about the core. And he's chewing on a cigar.
But anyway, I'm really glad I got this magazine. It's that article brings me much joy. I
got one more thing.
I got one more thing. The whole reason that sparked me to be like, all right, I'm pulling this out. I forgot to read it. Now, I want you all to hear these words and remember,
like,
basically
straight up naked with some boots on.
Yeah, there you go. It's the EGM January 1996 issue number 78. For people wanting to know, it's got a great. This is like the first look at Nintendo 64. Like the first look at any actual like games or anything really. I believe.
Yeah.
Like the first real look. But I want everyone to hear these words and remember, how people at the time would react to this when no one had really made a proper 3D controller before. Sega's 3D controller wasn't out yet. DualShock and the dual analog controller for PlayStation weren't out yet. There was no standard for how you make analog control the standard for a system. Okay? I quote, "The Ultra 64 controller is a work of genius. Having tested it out on the two games at Shoshinkai, that's the name of the show that this was, we can only wonder why nobody has ever thought of this concept before. Offering such features as an analog control and the traditional tried and true crosshair digital control, a game-saving memory cartridge slot, and a host of buttons to accommodate any possible use, either in 2 or 3-dimensional gameplay. This stick is a game player's dream."
Dang.
Besides the obvious functions we described in last month's issue, there are a host of new features that Nintendo is holding back as surprises for the show that need additional mention. Oh, do I need to start over again? Apparently, I was lying. I'm more than happy to read these words again. These wise words. Are we?
It seems to be fine. I didn't realize that anything had timed out.
Well, probably because you do not listen.
I'm not listening.
To words of wisdom when it comes to the Nintendo 64 controller.
No.
Hear these words of wisdom from EGM, January 1996. Hear ye. I quote, "The Ultra 64 controller is a work of genius."
Is that not? That should work, right?
Having tested it out on the 2 games at Shoshinkai, we can only wonder why nobody has ever thought of this concept before. Offering such features as an analog control and the traditional tried and true crosshair digital control, a game-saving memory cartridge slot, and a host of buttons to accommodate any possible use, either in 2 or 3-dimensional gameplay. This stick is a game player's dream. Besides the obvious functions that we described in last month's issue, there are a host of new features that Nintendo was holding back as surprises for the show that need additional mention. First, there's the cartridge slot. Similar in concept to the memory card on the PlayStation, Nintendo has done one better. With the cart in the controller rather than the machine, you can be playing a game at home, save the game information to the cart, and later take your controller and memory cart to your friend's house. Plug it into your friend's machine, and all of your settings are automatically downloaded to your friend's system. How that worked in practice, but to some extent, they're not far off. Now you can play a 2-player game, and each of you will be able to use your own game settings or custom controller configurations. Second, like the Super NES controller, there is a left and right trigger button on the top of the controller. Third, on the underside of the middle arm is a Z, third dimension trigger button. Other new features include 3 ways to hold the controller. Okay, they're a little wrong here, but hey, we were all processing it.
Three ways to hold it?
How this would work. Well, no, they're wrong in that they say, I quote,
it's a work
the
of
right
genius.
Middle arms allows for the best control in 3D games. Oh, wait. No, I'm having left and right mix up again. No, they're right. They're correct here. But then, okay, here's where they're wrong. Okay, holding the right and middle arms allows for the best control in 3D games. Yes. But then they say using the left and center arms offers the best features for right-handed players, and holding the left and right arms provides control found on the standard Super NES controls. Okay, so they're saying like right-hand players are better off using the left and middle, and it's like, it works well for sin and punishment, but that's fine. Anyway, they were basically they were sort of right.
Well, they thought it was interesting. It was interesting.
It certainly was interesting, but I thought I misremembered. I thought they said something wrong about. I thought they were saying like 3D games hold the left and middle, but they did say the right and middle, so they were correct. Anyway, I go on. The 4 yellow buttons, called the C group, also serve as the control that changes your perspective or view of the game. In King Griffey 64 Baseball, it will allow for 4 separate movement of the fielders independent of the team. Lastly, like the new Game Boys, Nintendo must have had a lot of colored plastic left over. The controllers will come in black, red, yellow, purple, blue, green, or gray.
Did it launch with that many different colors?
It should be noted that the U.S. office is seriously considering this option also. No, purple was not a thing, actually.
Well, yeah, the atomic purple wasn't until...
Purple.
Like it was...
All the other controllers were launched, though. I don't know if every single controller was available like day and date, but like certainly in the initial months, and also on the box, the console box itself, I'm pretty sure. I know that gray obviously came with gray, black, red, yellow, blue, and green were all launch window. But purple was not a thing. Purple was not a thing.
There was
like opaque purple.
Before it goes away, there was looks like a non-super chat donation.
From Pretty Chill Phil?
Yeah.
Saying, do you have a few minutes to talk about our Lord and Savior, the N64 controller? Yes, I do.
I absolutely do not. I never have.
I've got all the time in the world for this. But seriously though, like this is what there was no standard. Like people weren't looking at this thing and saying like, well, I don't have 3 hands.
Yeah, I never looked at it and thought I don't have 3 hands. Like what is this? What's even going on here? Like I never even thought about that. I just thought like nothing about this excites me.
Well, you were afraid of 3D gaming in general.
Yeah, I did not use just analog sticks for a long time.
Right. I think I wonder if
I didn't have the restraint for a long time that analog sticks require, I would say. You know what I mean? Like years and years of D-pads, just like, like full
You're going
bore and
full
like all the time, you know, in a direction.
Right.
Ooh, he dropped a hamburger. Like, it barely even healed me. Like, why is it even in the game? Oh, I can't go through there.
Video Game Obsession saying the Play It Loud colors came out a year or two later, if I recall. If you're talking about N64 controllers, definitely not. Definitely not, because I got blue and green controllers pretty early. It might have been a little hard to find.
How do I kill this guy?
But, you know, I wonder, though, if, you know, our age difference had anything... Like, I wonder if that's, like, a common story for gamers your age, where they were a little more wary of 3D gaming.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I was wary of 3D gaming. I just, like, I did not think, like... I didn't see a lot of appeal in having, like, a little joystick.
Right.
Because I guess at the time, the closest proximity that I had to something like that was probably like early Master System controllers had you could like screw in a little stick into the middle of the D-pad. So I wonder if I related it to that, you know, right out of the gate. Whether or not that makes any sense.
And you know, and you shouldn't think of it as a joystick, because a joystick is digital and it's
right. But I mean, it's like, you know, it just at the time it was like hard.
But yeah, I can see where that impression would come from. I mean, you know, I'll admit I did not understand exactly how to hold it or use it the first time I played it. You know, I had to observe someone else holding it the right way. I'm like, oh, I get it now. But once I got it, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder if the fact that I was like I was not interested in the N64 until I played it in Toys R Us that day. But I've told the story of many times. You know, I was like, you know, because I hadn't even had the Super Nintendo for 2 full years yet, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I didn't like that. Oh, I saw you just died.
I did.
I was afraid of this thing replacing the thing I just got.
Yes.
And but when I played it, then I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And I wonder if, like, being younger, I was just like more malleable, more willing to accept something a little different from what I was used to, you know?
Yeah, perhaps. Perhaps, but I know at the time I was just like, I just didn't have the restraint for it.
Right. But I mean, so were you into 3D games at all, but just using a D-pad, or?
Yeah, but I mean, there wasn't a lot of like games there wasn't really anything that required a stick at that point.
Well, oh, certainly not. But like, was it 3D gaming in general, or just?
No. I mean, I was excited about 3D games because that's like, it felt like that's. I mean, that was the big promise of the PS1.
Right.
You know, like, and that's that interested in.
The DualShock was not utilized particularly well on the PS1. You know, outside of, you know, a few key examples. I mean,
right.
I mean, you know, obviously Ape Escape does its own thing. You know, there's examples of it being used fairly well. Like it you know, it plays nicely in like the Spyro games.
Yeah.
You know, Mega Man Legends 2 is super good. I mean, there's examples, but like to this day, you know, if I'm going to play like you know, Squaresoft RPG on PlayStation, any RPG with like pre-rendered backgrounds, I still play those with the D-pad. In a lot of ways, because I feel like it's easier to control where you're going with the D-pad. Because you're kind of locked into a virtual directional pathway. Like it's tilted a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's a little, per screen. I mean, it's always seemed strange to me that there's a, they actually made a DualShock version of Resident Evil. And I believe Resident Evil 2 has a DualShock version as well.
Yeah.
To me, DualShock is like, I guess rumble could be a selling point, but like the analog aspect.
Yeah, well, I feel like
there's zero appeal to me to play those games with an analog stick because tank controls are fundamentally digital.
Yeah.
Like there is zero advantage and potential disadvantages to playing games like that with an analog stick. I feel like
DualShock was more about DualShock was more about the rumble than it was about the analog sticks.
Very possibly, yeah.
I mean, that was I guess for stuff like that, like the DualShock was like Metal Gear Solid was the big flagship I guess Ape Escape was technically, but the games that I played, it seemed like the biggest people made the biggest deal about Metal Gear Solid really makes use of the rumble and stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, even the GameCube versions of Resident Evil, I like playing those with the Hori pad. Because, the analog controller really doesn't add anything to tank controls.
Right.
I see Kebab say, to me, the most underutilized feature of the DualShock was the L3, R3.
Yeah.
And just the right stick control. I mean, developers just didn't put two and two together and realize hey, we could use the right stick for camera controls for a long time. It took a long time. Yeah, I mean, this might be a controversial opinion. I mean, I kind of, Coury's younger self's reaction to being like, I don't want a little stick on my controller. Is maybe kind of similar to how I reacted to learning that there was a click in the stick. I always thought that seemed a little weird. And to this day, I still feel like it's a little unintuitive. I guess I'm overall glad those buttons are there. But I feel like clicky sticks is still a little bit of a weird thing.
See, it's like running in games is so heavily used at this point, being in
now I do think that that's the one thing.
Yeah, right. I mean, I understand. How did they think we'll put a couple more buttons in here?
Right. But it's just,
it seems like a weird thing for them to have just think of doing in the first place.
Right. It's something that you could do you can hit very accidentally. I will still often accidentally hit, a stick click in a heated moment in the game. Right.
Yeah.
But I do agree, left stick click to run is great. To toggle run on and off. That's great. That's the one thing that I think is really great for click sticks. I melee hits in first person shooters on right stick is pretty good too, I guess. Doom does that. However, the thing I don't like in Doom is that interacting with
right.
You don't have to interact with things very often in Doom, but if you're
But it treats it
touching
like
a panel.
like it treats it like a full-on button.
Right.
Not
right.
just like,
so
here it does.
Right stick click is like interact with panels, pick up an item. So, I mean, you don't have to do it a whole lot because most things are pretty automatic, but it's that's weird to me. Like it's not weird to do melee on right stick, like run on left stick click, melee on right stick click for shooters specifically. I do think that works, but like interacting with a right stick is a little weird. Like I don't like absolutely hate it, but it's a little weird. It's like maybe the one slightly weird control thing in that game.
It's a little weird.
A little weird.
I kind of want to go back to the starting area to visit the shops and stuff. So that's what I'm going to do.
But anyway, yeah, I still think the thing that gets me the most is when like crouch or stealth mode is on a stick click, or like detective mode or something like that is a stick click. Like in the heat of combat, like I'm gonna find myself like crouching by mistake like all the time. that still happens to me. Not a ton, but it'll happen. And the other thing, I guess I've always, even though like I've never really had a problem with this, I guess I've also always kind of seen it as just like an additional potential failure point. Like, you know, analog sticks need to be treated well as it is.
Yeah.
Like
but then you kind of realize now that it's like,
yeah, and then you're like doing this click, and it's it just
like you wonder if that is a culprit of like causing drift at some point. I don't know.
Very possibly. I mean, you know, I imagine in like first-person shooters where you're like doing that a lot, like for melee and stuff. Like, I don't play a lot of first-person shooters, and certainly don't play them like online where, you know, you might be chronically playing the game.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, let's see if I can.
Joe Bookman says, stick clicks have never felt natural to me, no matter how much time passes. Often press them accidentally. Yeah, I mean, I guess they're natural enough to me now, but I still think it is inherently a weird idea. I think stick clicks seem more strange and unnatural than 3 handles on a controller.
I don't.
Now y'all just chew on that a minute.
Okay. I don't agree with that. But
that's right, Mr. Do. 3 handles greater than stick clicks. That's right. That's right. Now, so Kaylee Gamer says, try pressing L3 on your GameCube. I think that the R and L click at the bottom of the trigger pull, now that feels good. That feels natural. And that's one of my favorite things about like the DualSense controller is you can add, in theory, if it was better utilized, you could add a GameCube style click at any point in the trigger pull. That's great.
So,
hey now, Atari Fuzz. Saying, it's so funny to think that the N64 controller exists. How bizarre. Don't Don't make me pull the good word.
How bizarre.
Out of this magazine protector sleeve again. Don't make me say the good words again from EGM, January 1996. Don't make me.
Don't make them do it.
So some people in here need to hear the good words. Saying the N64, the Ultra 64 controller is a work of genius. It's true today as it was back then.
Generally, how long do you think this game is? The 3 games that are included in this package, which one's the longest? Are they all about the same?
I feel like I would guess that this is the shortest, other than Haunted Castle, of course. I don't remember this being particularly long. I mean, Aria of Sorrow is really short. And I don't remember this necessarily seeming substantially longer because similar to Aria of Sorrow, it doesn't have like a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
Like a world design gimmick. Like it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I guess, and I have a lot of the map already revealed. Yeah, because I think they tried to recreate that, like with did they with Circle of the Moon? They had like not like an upside down castle equivalent.
No, Circle of the Moon's pretty straightforward. Harmony of Dissonance has like 2 overlapping castles, where like there's certain rooms that are in both castles and certain rooms that are only in one castle.
It feels overly complicated for what I was trying to achieve.
I mean, I think it has its faults, but I think what Harmony of Dissonance did was pretty interesting. Then Aria of Sorrow like plays it pretty straight. Dawn of Sorrow plays it pretty straight. So I don't remember this being particularly long. And then Portrait of... Have you played any of the DS games?
No, I have them all, but I have not really played anything.
Portrait of Ruin, it's got your main castle, but then you've got, your that you enter the portraits, and they are like smaller, self-contained levels. So it's
it's kind of a mixture of like classic and
kind of. I mean, they're still like exploratory levels, not really so much like linear levels, but they're smaller. They're smaller.
Well, that's kind of nice.
It's kind of neat because you get a lot more environmental variety that way. It's not just a Gothic castle, right?
Right.
You go to like a desert and stuff like that. Lots of different environments there. And then Order of Ecclesia has like a world map.
Mm-hmm.
And you also do smaller levels. A lot of the levels are very linear though. And then like, I don't know, maybe like 2/3 into the game, or maybe half, somewhere between like half and 2/3, I would say. Like you finally get to the castle. And then it's like a more traditional Metroidvania, but it's, I would say, a smaller than normal castle.
Mm-hmm.
But I've only played Order of Ecclesia once. It was my least favorite of the DS games, but I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, well, I feel like at that point people were burned out by it, right?
I was burned out by it a bit. And what's funny is I remember like very specifically like talking to like Drum and Xavier when Portrait of Ruin came out. And I was just like, man, they could keep making the same dang game every year for the rest of forever, and I would never get sick of it. Oh, and then every indie developer was like, hey, let's make all our games just like these Castlevania DS games and Metroid.
Yeah.
Well,
oh.
We did get sick of it. But you know what? When these games were still coming out, this was it. Other people, not a lot of other people were making games like this.
But even still, like, I felt like less excited about it. And a big part of that probably was because every single, like, they're all portable. And it's like, I wanted a console one, you know?
I mean, as much as I like Lament of Innocence, I do remember I expected it to be like a 3D, Egavania. And it's really not. It's like much more sectioned off.
Right.
Like each level is, kind of its own thing. But yeah, actually, like the thing with Order of Ecclesia that kind of gets me, like Order of Ecclesia did try to mix things up, but the way that it mixed things up kind of drew my attention to the flaws of the genre in a way that made me like it less. Like I don't know whether I should say like the genre as a whole less or just like Order of Ecclesia less, but like the fact that so much of Order of Ecclesia is these like very linear pathway levels, like kind of made me realize that it's really more of an action RPG than a platformer, because there's no platforming challenge to it.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
falling down a pit is not your concern, right?
Yeah, I like the little eye in that when I killed it, the way it spins around. It just like looked very comical.
Oh yeah, that is good. But yeah, I like the fact that there's all these linear levels that are like almost like classic Castlevania levels, but in practice they're just like little action RPG stages where you're beating the monsters because you have a higher level than them. You know? And the fact that there's no actual platforming challenge to it, it kind of drew attention to, I guess, a lot of the level design in some of these games being a bit superficial. And it kind of opened my eyes in a way that I wish it hadn't. So yeah, Order of Ecclesia is my least favorite. I have a very distinct memory of like Order of Ecclesia came out the week after I just had like the worst upset stomach in my life.
For a week?
No. So like for like 24 hours ish. I had the worst upset stomach of my life after having pizza from Pizza Hut. And like Order of Ecclesia came out that week. I picked it up, and that weekend, like I had the exact same thing, but not after eating Pizza Hut pizza. I don't know what it was.
So, I mean, it's interesting because, like when I was in high school, I used to occasionally get like a weird kind of like indigestion where I would just wake up with it, and like I would be very like have like burps that like made me like this like tasted so gross it would make me throw up sometimes.
Wow.
And I don't really know what it was at the time, and I still don't know because it just like kind of stopped, a couple of years later.
Yeah,
I mean, not even a couple of years later, like maybe like a year later, it just like never happened again. But there was a point in time where it was happening like fairly regularly, and I have no idea. Still, I have no idea what it was.
As I've gotten older, I've definitely, been more susceptible to being you know, a bit gassier, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta have those Tums before bed.
But I've never had anything like this again, like before or since, where like it was like this, just like it felt like intense pressure, just like in the middle of my gut, just like it felt so gassy, and it felt like I just needed to like burp for an hour straight, and I couldn't, you know,
like a acid reflux type thing. No, I mean, well,
not like acid reflux. Like I just felt just intense pressure that I could not relieve, and it had like really bad diarrhea too. But I wanted to throw up, but I couldn't. Like I didn't need to throw up. But yeah, like I just remember it happened like twice, like a week apart, and Order of Ecclesia came out in the middle of it. And it only lasted about 24 hours each time, but it was like so bad that I was like, I want to go to the hospital, and I just want them to just like jab a knife into my stomach.
So let
all the air out. Like it felt so bad that I was just like, I was ready. Like if like I went to the hospital and they're like, well, the only thing we can do is just like jab a knife into your stomach, I'd just been like, do it. Like it was that bad. Nothing that extreme has ever happened to me since. But I have no idea.
Like what caused it, or
the Pizza Hut pizza is certainly suspicious, but then why did it happen again 1 week later when I didn't have Pizza Hut pizza?
I don't know. Maybe maybe they did something to it.
I have no idea what it was. Maybe it was Order of Ecclesia.
Yeah, let's blame it on the game. Yeah. Let's blame it on the DS game. I had bad indigestion because of a DS game. Like maybe you shouldn't have eaten the game.
I did not eat the whole pizza in one sitting.
I don't know where I'm supposed to go, although, like, I don't mind capturing all these souls, like, especially the Catoblepus.
Oh, we got we got a $5 super chat from Ben Brody saying $5, but Try has to talk about his favorite pizza toppings for at least 1 minute and 30 seconds.
That's gonna be the easiest money you've ever made. I feel like.
Yeah, I'd have to say so.
Banana peppers is your favorite, right?
I like banana peppers on a sub, but I don't usually get them on a pizza.
It's become one of my favorites on a pizza.
I mean, I feel like my ideal combination is pepperoni and mushrooms. Like that most of the time I feel like, sometimes I can be tempted to do more than pepperoni and mushrooms, but sometimes I feel like it starts to detract from just the pure goodness of pepperoni and mushrooms. But I don't always want pepperoni. Sometimes I want sausage. I like spicy Italian sausage. I really like it, like when it's like sliced sausage, like the chunk sausage, like the ground, like chunky sausage pieces are good, but it usually feels like kind of a special treat when it's like, oh, this place has like thick sliced sausage on the pizza.
Ben Brody, I hope you're timing this.
The thing was at least 1 minute 30 seconds, which I'm sure I will do cumulatively quite easily. In terms of like vegetables on the pizza, I'm not counting mushrooms because I mushrooms are not vegetable. My favorite veggie to have on pizza is green peppers. I do like to have when I have green peppers on a pizza, I prefer them to be like chopped, like just little pieces,
like diced up. You mean?
Yeah, like diced, rather than like, having like a long piece of green pepper on it. I don't like that as much. I prefer diced green peppers on a pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Onion can be like, I usually don't order onion specifically on pizza, but when it is on pizza, it's usually good. Every once in a while, maybe you mix it up and have like, salami instead of pepperoni or something. Ham is good. I like ham on pizza. I don't mind pineapple on pizza.
I like pineapple on it. I know that a lot of people
get
cagey when you talk about that.
Not long ago, I actually was like, you know what? I am in the mood for some pineapple pizza. And normally, when it's like there, I'm like, sure, I'll eat some pineapple on the pizza. But I normally don't actively like crave it or order it. But I did not that long ago. I was like, I want that. So I got it. But I wouldn't classify it as a favorite necessarily. But is there something that has become when Drum and Lynn and I have like a movie night or something, or any other event, and we get pizza. Kind of like we usually will just do like the Domino's, like, what was it, like 2 for $7 or $8 or something like that. Like you get like a medium 2-topping pizza. You get like 2 medium 2-topping pizzas for whatever price. We usually do like 1 experimental pizza and 1 standby pizza, and like our standby it has become bacon and feta, and it's really really good. It's really good. It's really good. Like Lynn really likes that, so she's willing to let me and Drum get a little more experimental with the experimental pizza. Although it feels like there's not, with 2 toppings, you don't have that much room to be that experimental. But yeah, at the end of the day, pepperoni and mushroom is just like, that's my favorite. It's fun to have more toppings, but
I wish I liked mushroom. It's my least favorite topping. I can, as long if it's mixed in with anything else, as long as I don't taste it, it's fine. But I've never liked mushrooms, so
I love it.
There's another one from Ben Brody.
Yes, there was.
But I gotta talk about my favorite Castlevania game for a minute and 30 seconds.
Which game and which platform, if multiple platforms?
Well, certainly I would say that my favorite one is probably the first one. I mean, I think that I played that one the most. And I think it has the best soundtrack. Like, she never did any other soundtracks, did she? The what's her face? Can you? Is it Yamashita? Is that what it was?
Matsumae? I think it's Matsumae. Ooh, I get.
Yeah, she's the one that.
Get a beaver nugget.
She did the. I don't know. I think that the first one has the best soundtrack. So, although it does not have Bloody Tears, I think that Bloody Tears in the Castlevania 2 is probably the best Castlevania song. But there's a lot of songs in the first one that were never used in anything else.
My Castlevania 1 is signed by her.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I talked about it.
Kinyo?
Yeah. I mean, I talked about it in the video.
Am I thinking about someone from Capcom when I'm
You're thinking? I think that you're thinking. I think she was the Mega Man 1 composer. I think.
Castlevania.
Yeah, Rondo does. I've certainly played. So I guess that does it. Rondo does like raise a lot of things because I think that while I probably played the first one the most, I would say that even though it might not be my favorite, I would say that Rondo is probably the best Castlevania. Although it might.
Yeah.
I mean, just like on so many different levels, like it's just because one's my favorite doesn't mean it has to be like the best one.
Technically the best. Yeah, I agree with that. Like for some reason, like I think the same way. I'm like, Rondo is probably technically the best, but my heart doesn't feel that it's my favorite, and I can't put my finger on why.
Right. I mean, it's the same thing with like Mega Man 1.
Like Rondo.
Like a lot of people will say, "Oh, Mega Man 2 is like the best one." I know that you don't, but I mean, but there's not a lot of people that would say, "Oh, Mega Man 1 is my favorite." Like I know that it's not the best one, but it's my favorite anyways.
Yeah. So it's Kinyo Yamashita.
Yeah, that's what
and Mega Man 1 is Manami Matsumae.
Yes.
So I think I kind of had them a little confused because I thought Matsumae was the Castlevania 1 lady. I had them a bit confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rondo is like I would consider it the best. But like I for some reason like when I think like it's the best, but is it my favorite? Like my heart just says it's not, and I don't know why that is. I feel like it should be my favorite, but
yeah, I mean I've played through the first one the most. That's usually what I mean,
we didn't get the opportunity to play Rondo until much later. That could certainly plays a role in that. I feel like when I finally get around to playing the Famicom version of Castlevania 3, I think it will be my favorite.
Yeah.
There's so much I like about Castlevania 3, but I think the American version is a little mean.
Yeah. I see people saying, like, a lot of people say Sonic 3 is the best, but I love Sonic 2. I mean, like, just it's that same one where it's like, you know, like I love that first one. It's easily my favorite, you know, and I think it's just one of those things where, you know, like you'll always remember like that first love more so than even, you know, like more than like better.
But yeah, I mean, Castlevania 1 is, you know, it's also potentially my favorite as well. Like I have a lot of love for the first one. I saw Mr. Do say Super Castlevania 4 is probably my favorite, and you know, that's a game I didn't think that much of the first time I played it. Like I was like, yeah, this is good, but like the more time that passes and the more I play it, the deeper appreciation I have for it. Especially when you consider when it was made and how early of a Super Nintendo game it is.
Yeah.
And how ambitious it was with not just the hardware and the game design, but also the music. I feel like the music, you know, when video games try to make music that doesn't sound like video game music, often it ends up just being this like very forgettable cinematic mush, right?
But that didn't start happening until...
Right. Right.
until
That was more of a
the
problem for
HD
later.
generation. I would argue
That was a problem mostly for later, but I do feel like Castlevania 4's music was trying to do something really different.
for sure.
And
I mean,
it was making music that didn't sound like normal video game music, and yet it's so good.
it tried to make music that felt like it was part of the scenery.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what modern games try to do, but in a way that makes the music lose its identity.
Yeah.
It lacks any identity of its own, and Castlevania 4 does not suffer that problem.
Right.
Castlevania 4's music is so good.
Yeah.
And it stands out among the series. Like, it is a unique soundtrack in the series, I think. I love what they did with 4. Oh, Ben Brody's back. Thank you. $5, but Try has to talk about which game series that began in the 5th generation, 32 and 64-bit, is his favorite for at least 1 minute and 240 seconds. Uh-oh. How long is 240 seconds?
That's 4 minutes. He's asking you to talk about it for
5 minutes.
For 5 minutes. I don't know if he could do that. And I'm gonna get to a safe spot, and I'm like winding down anyways. I like I said, I got a flight tomorrow morning, and I got to make sure I got everything in.
Here, I'm going to try.
But we can both talk about which game series started in that generation. That is your favorite.
I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes. Favorite series that began in the 5th generation.
Like on the PS1 then? So, or is that PS1?
PS1 and 64 Saturn.
That like began that generation.
All right, so I'm going punch go on my timer here.
Okay.
Is Resident Evil? I'd have to say, because I can't think of anything that started on N64 that is ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
That would stand up to that.
Yeah.
It's gotta be Resident Evil.
Well, I mean, does make you think though. How many series like began that generation are still like getting like new update or new releases? Like how many?
I mean, a lot. You know, not so much. You know, you're because a lot were also like 3D platformers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They aren't so hot anymore. But Resident Evil, you know, I actually didn't become a fan of Resident Evil during that generation because I kind of thought it wasn't for me. I was still very, I think I talked about this not long ago, where I was suspicious of violent games back at that time because I saw because the reason people liked them appeared to be because of the gore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that was a big part of the appeal. And some people, that probably was the reason. Other people, they actually probably did genuinely enjoy the gameplay. But I was very suspicious of stuff like Mortal Kombat, Doom, and Resident Evil because I was just like, oh, they're probably not actually good games. People just like them because they're violent. And you know, Resident Evil, I watched a friend play a lot of 2 and 3 back in the day. I didn't see much of 1 back in the day, but my friend did show me the opening FMV and was like, you gotta see this. It's amazing. And so it wasn't until like the series went semi-exclusive to Nintendo. The first time I actually ever even tried Resident Evil was
they hated
Kuraka on Dreamcast. I played like an hour or so, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then when it like kind of went exclusive to Nintendo, you know, me being a little bit of a Nintendo fanboy, I was like, oh, maybe this is the time for me to give it a chance. I freaking loved Resident Evil 1 remake, and you know, I thought it would be hard to go back to Resident Evil 1. Original version, and man, it stands on its own. It's still very, very good. But yeah, I mean, I've loved the series ever since then. I mean, through, you know, good times and bad times. I mean, Resident Evil 5, you know, for all the things people said about it, I still think it's the best online co-op experience I've ever had. You know, It Takes Two was pretty darn good. But that was like much more, I mean, because that was so early for me in like online co-op experiences, it really stands out for me. And even Resident Evil 6, you know, I thought, you know, the game mechanics are actually quite interesting, just poorly explained. Sure, it does steer a little too actiony, but I had a great time with it, especially in co-op. I had a great time with Resident Evil 6. So, you know, it's I'll admit it's not one of the better ones, but you know, through good times and bad, I have loved Resident Evil. You know, I feel like I'm kind of a minority for liking Resident Evil 7 more than 8. I mean, you're kind of with me that you thought 8 was disappointing.
Yeah, it didn't do anything that I thought was interesting.
Yeah, it's okay. 8 is okay. But
I mean, I don't feel that 8 should have been a numbered entry.
Well, it's not. I mean,
well,
it is.
I mean, it is, but it should not have been.
Village. I refuse to call it Village. But you know, 2 remake and 4 remake are phenomenal, and I can't wait to see, you know, what Resident Evil 9 will be. I'm actually kind of surprised that Resident Evil 9 has not been announced yet. I hope it's a third person game. I'm kind of done with oh, here we go. I did it. I did it.
As Bram Brody is saying for $2, saying mine is either GTA or MGS, but both of those games did not start in that generation. I mean, GTA may have.
Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, but I don't count that. Like Metal Gear Solid is the third game in the series.
But GTA started that generation, didn't it? Like GTA 1 is like PC and PlayStation and like that.
Yeah, that's
you know, Metal Gear is like it really shouldn't be this way, but I feel like I would have considered Metal Gear Solid like really high on my list of series that, if not began, certainly took off that generation, right? I would have, but I feel like Metal Gear Solid 5, and like not just that, but also the circumstances that surrounded its release with Kojima, and you know how everyone knew, you know, things were going bad between him and Konami, and he ultimately left, and the fact that I just don't really like Metal Gear Solid 5 that much. I feel like that game decreased my love for the series in a way that it probably shouldn't have.
Wait, what game did?
Metal Gear Solid 5. Like I feel like less of a Metal Gear fan now than I felt before Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah. Well, you know what sucks about that is it's purely story-wise. Because the gameplay in that is...
It's good, but like it really just drilled home for me that like to me, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but like to me, Metal Gear Solid is like the saga is finished.
Yeah, well,
and they went one game too many. 5 was just an unnecessary game. You know?
Yeah.
They did not need to do 5. The story added really nothing of value that really linked things together. Like there was questions that Metal Gear Solid 5 answered that weren't posed by Metal Gear Solid 5 itself, in my opinion. Like, you know, people can say what they will about Metal Gear Solid 4, but it finished Snake's story. You know?
Yeah. For better or worse, yeah. I mean, it just...
Whether you agree or not that whether it stuck the landing, it wrapped up the series.
Yeah.
It
went out of its way to wrap up the series.
Yes, absolutely. So,
and it may not have done like exactly what everybody wanted it to do, but at least it went out of its way to tie up as many loose ends as possible.
Yeah. So I feel like Metal Gear Solid 4 is the true end of the series. I see Peacemaker being brought up. I guess that was after 4, right? That was after 4, right? Or was it?
Peace Walker is after 4, yeah.
Yeah. I like Peace Walker. I couldn't tell you anything about the story. I don't feel like its story was especially important.
Well, I
did like the game itself.
A lot of people took issue when I said Peace Walker was like unnecessary, or like people might not care that they're like losing Peace Walker, and I mean it's just 5 did what Peace Walker was trying to do, but Peace Walker was limited by the fact that it was a portable game.
But I see,
like a mission based, like kind of open ended.
Well,
like
I played Peace Walker on PS3, and a big thing that I liked about it, it felt like it was quicker to jump in and out of missions. Whereas Metal Gear Solid 5, you have to get in the helicopter, and there's just all of this like manual ritual that you have to do to start and get on to any mission. It's such a...
Well, Peace Walker has a bit of that too.
Yeah, but isn't it mostly menu driven?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but, like the whole thing where you have to like get on the helicopter and all that junk. I really hated that in Metal Gear Solid 5.
See, I don't remember that. Oh. I don't remember that very much. I just remember like the game was really, really good until it has that one scene like in the Jeep, and then it's like, all right, so we should like wrap it up or like really kick in like the story and the gear here, and then it's just like really a lot of busy work missions. That really just like drew out.
What Metal Gear Solid 5 is just busy missions.
This like up until he's like when Snake gets into the Jeep with what's his face with like Skullface or whatever his name is, and they have like a big conversation, and it felt like, okay, so now we're finally getting someplace with this story, and then you expect things to pick up a lot faster from there, but then it just it doesn't. Yeah. It actually like slows down in a way.
Yeah, I kind of like. Yeah, I feel zero desire for Metal Gear to come back. Well, we're not talking about Resident Evil anymore. We're talking about one of your favorite game that did in fact not. Series that did not start that generation.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should probably go to bed. You've got travel to do tomorrow.
Yes. Thanks everybody who jumped in here tonight, and everyone who donated, and everyone for watching the tour video. I'm glad that everyone enjoyed it. And especially people have watched it more than once. Share it around. I mean, it's kind of it's not doing like crazy numbers, but it's I wonder if it'll get shared around in like different groups where people are like, oh, check out this. And
Kebab just watched it 5 times.
What I think is kind of interesting about it is like the reaction to kind of like what I talk about at the very end, where there's the people are like, oh, like that ending speech, like got me. And I was like, I didn't really like intend for it to like, for people to like get it, like I was
or get got by. Yeah. I mean, like, that's kind of got me thinking like, dang, I gotta have the right words at the end of mine too, but it can't be the exact same sentiment either.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do?
But yeah, I was very surprised. And like, there's so many people saying like, oh, is he like quitting after this? Like, that's not like what I wanted. I didn't like
say that.
Yeah. There's somebody saying like, oh, I think that like, there's a comment like today where people said, oh, is he saying like, oh, is he going to say like, I'm done after this? But no. I mean, it's just, I will probably never do another tour video again. Like I've said many times on this stream that if I don't have to move, I can't imagine things like changing so significantly that it requires a video like that ever again. And not only that, but I've also I went through all those previous setups, and I can't repeat that again, so I just thought it was interesting. Like, I thought it was fun to look at those old setups and see like where things just like kind of went really out of control with what it is now, and just kind of seeing like the escalation, right?
Mr. D says, Coury's next room tour. So here's my Mr. and my TV. Okay, bye.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can't imagine that things will change so significantly that I will need to do it. And, like, if anything changes, it will be that it becomes more simplified. Honestly. I mean, that's just the way it is.
HDMI 2.1 is coming for you, Coury.
But that is only going to
coming for you. You can't run away forever.
But that will only require specific pieces getting swapped out. Like the location and the way that things are hooked up is not going to change.
I don't know if there's ever going to be an AV receiver that allows you to output as many inputs as our receiver does.
I think that Marantz one that John has does, but it's $3,500.
I wonder if it's really that different from the one I have, though, because you know what, and also you should wait, because there is as far as I have seen, I've looked this up. I don't think there is a single AV receiver out there that will output HDMI 2.1 over Zone 2.
Okay, yeah, I mean, there's no reason for me to do it anyways.
And I did not know of that limitation when I bought it.
The only way that I would upgrade my receiver at this point is if one of the other two outputs like died.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way it would happen.
Yeah. Or your OLED died.
I mean, no, I can turn
the OLED and you'd stick with HDMI 2.0 like I did for a while.
Well, no, I would upgrade my receiver to HDMI 2.1 before I did the OLED.
I'm just saying
the only way that I'm upgrading either one of them is if one of them dies.
Right. Well, and that was how I felt until, my OLED got some really distracting issues.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, you probably could have you noticed it and it just like got stuck in your cross so severely that you're like,
I did. It was close to a year after I noticed it until I bought the C1.
Oh, okay. For some reason I thought I was.
I lived with it for a while.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I'm like I said, I'm happy that people liked it. I'm happy that it's done, and I can't imagine that I'll need to do another one. Like there's nothing left to say about it, I guess. Or to like
said what needed to be said.
Yeah, saying what needed to be said. Yeah, thank the this setup is still real to me, damn it. Anyways, yeah, thanks for everybody for checking it out, and hopefully everyone has a great week. I'm going to be working on the next video. Like, I've already been kind of working on it. It's going to be like, we have another sponsorship. Try's working on his setup tour, so I'm gonna go this one alone. It's going to be just more of a fun thing that I'm not sure if anyone's going to really care about that much, but it's just,
of course they will care.
But it's just a fun thing, and
it's about video games.
Yeah, exactly. It's not emulation. No. No, it's going to be about it's going to be about light gun games on the PS3, because I think it's just kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, like enhanced version of Wii games that use like the move, but also like I really just want to talk about the sharpshooter, because it's really fun to use. So anyways, everyone have a great night, great week, and we'll see you next week. Take care and good night.